Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check. Greetings, greetings, noble ones. Hello, welcome, welcome. Good to see you here. I do need a drink, don't I? I did not think this through. I'll get a drink in a minute. I'll get a drink in a minute. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Hello, Talos, Dan the Jedi, Gabriel, Unknown User 115. Hello, hello. Bob the Man. I appreciate that, thank you. Diablo 2? No, the music is Diablo 1. Tristram. The village. Yeah, I'm getting close to 1 million, Chaos. You're right. We are, what, like 9,000? 9,000 to 1 million. That'd be nice. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna order the gold. We're gonna order the gold, guys. Hello, Nicholas. Good to see you. We have a few topics. You'll see in a second. So right now I have 2 play buttons. One for this channel when it hit 100,000 subs. And then for my second channel, which recently hit 100,000 subs. So I have 2 silver play buttons, but you know, if we hit the million, it would be nice to go through the process, because what you do is that you have to go to the website that gives these awards in affiliation with YouTube, and then you request it and put a link to the channel to surpass the threshold, and then they check it in the next couple of days, and if it's true, then they confirm it through email, and then they just ship it. That's how it works. So it's not complicated. You just have to make sure that you type in the name of the channel correctly, because if you make a typo, then your play button will have the typo. So you do need to be careful with that. Nah, this is Nicholas. This is Diablo 1. It transcends any adjective to describe it. I see, DS, so you like my series on the origins of civilizations. Hopefully we'll be able to... I mean, I think I will still continue it. The frequency of upload, it's dependent on how well it does, but the good news that I would like to kind of start on a positive note, why don't we do that? The good news that I have announced on my X account, which I will share with you in a second. Just let me double check the stream. Excellent connection I'm getting. Well, I hope so. I just switched to fiber optics. Yeah, we got excellent connection. That's good. That's good. Not many people yet, but hopefully more people will join in. We'll see. We shall see. But as I was saying, good news, which I will repeat a couple of times, is this. So, as I posted on my X account, on my Twitter X account, which, by the way, I would appreciate if you could follow, because we are very close to 26,000. Maybe later on, if we get more people watching, we are just at the beginning of the stream now, but maybe later I'll also give you the link and everything, but I would appreciate... I post a lot, I'm very active, I post multiple times a day. So anyways, the good news is that, yeah, the Plushy happened. So the Plushy sold out. Today was the last day. The whole thing ended at 11 this morning, and we have, in fact, it was overfunded because in order to be funded, we needed 200 sales. Thanks to you guys are awesome. We hit 219, which means 109% funded. So it was overfunded. It was a successful campaign, and so that's fantastic. Which means it's possible that in the future we'll do another one. And in that case, I'm considering a knight with a great helm, and we'll see. We'll see what we could do for the next one, or maybe a Roman. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. A historically accurate Roman is also an interesting, but actually, we'll see. Anyways, it was great. That's the good news. That's the good news, and yeah, so quite a lot of things to share today among others. But how you guys doing? Let me have a look. And also hello to Titan Bro and Retrorix on Twitch, on the Twitch side. It's really good to have you here, guys. So let me see. Thank you so much, Ray. As always, you are so good, my friend. Thank you for your continuous support. Really appreciate that. Thank you for gifting the memberships. I really appreciate that. Favorite Silent Hill and why? Probably for me is Silent Hill 4, The Room. That's my favorite. I just loved the whole... It was so original. The idea that it was first person in the apartment, and then when you leave the apartment, it's third person for gameplay. I really liked that one. It wasn't perfect. It had some problems, like the fact that you have to do all the levels in reverse. That was pretty bad. But anyways, it is my favorite Silent Hill. Yeah, after that, probably 3 and 2. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of old school. These are the 3. That's the trinity, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, possibly, like, I would do either 4-2-3 or 4-3-2. As a game and the story, objectively, Silent Hill 2 is superior than 3. But I really like Heather. Like, I really like her. And the game was really fun to play, the third one. Very, like, cult-oriented. And so sometimes I have my fondest memories are with 4, but after 4 with 3. Which is why, even though I know objectively 2 is better, for me personally, 3, I would put it on top. So I would do 4-3-2. That would be my my list for Silent Hills. Oh, you finished The Chosen. Yeah, I've reviewed it a few times. It's pretty good. It has some things that I don't like, but it's like the Roman armor is terrible. And they did take quite a few liberties, but they were open about it. So at the end of the day, I'm okay with it. Will I play the new Silent Hill? Which one is... Oh, no, wait. You mean Silent Hill F? Yeah, the one with the Japanese girl? Sure. I'll play it 100%. 100%. Is it already out? Not yet, right? Congratulations on the funding. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. You know what's funny about the funding of the Plushy? I just want to say this. First and foremost, I need to say thank you to you guys because you made it happen, and all the people that did order the Plushy. Of course, you are the ones that made it happen. Secondly, though, I do want to thank all of my haters because there were so many comments, particularly after the whole Freda fiasco for him, of course. After the whole Freda fiasco, I got quite a lot of haters that were mocking me from his community, telling me, look, you can't even sell your Plushie, because at the time we were struggling, right? Because we were only selling like 70. And then they were all in the comments laughing and mocking, pointing the finger, belittling, saying, look at you, you're a failure, you can't even sell it. And I think all of that extra engagement actually pushed those videos into the algorithm. So more people saw the videos, and the videos did contain the Plushies integration. So massive thank you to my haters for making this happen too. You know what I mean? GG, guys. As I tell you, I'm always the alchemist. Monetize everything. Monetize the support of good people. And I know that you guys do want that because you like the videos being successful on the channel. You're real supporters. You're good. You're great. I love you. But also gotta say thank you and monetize the freaking haters, because since even though they don't want to, ultimately they end up being monetized anyways, and their hatred is turned into money. So thank you for the American dollars. What can I tell you? That's the system, my friends, and I use it. I'm a player. I am a player, my friend. Any history question you have, feel free to ask, my friend. Attacking over a dunk. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're so right, Baron. People really need to touch grass. But in the meantime, you know, there are only two things that I can do with haters. Either let them get under my skin and be like, oh, they're so, like, you know, righteous indignation. I could do that. Or I can monetize the shit out of them. I choose the latter. Thank you. But yeah, here we are, guys. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? New to your channel. Thank you so much, Christy. Absolutely love the in-depth study you do. May God bless you as you bless so many with your videos. I appreciate that. May God bless you, Christy. Appreciate that. Good to have you here. Yeah, so here we are, guys. Here we are. And today, actually, will you do a video on the origin of China? Well, maybe not China, but we could do the Han. We could do maybe dynasty by dynasty. I would rather do it because, I mean, one single video on China is massive. It would be like too much history to cover. And then maybe divide it into the ethnic types and then possibly the dynasties could be interesting. Sure, why not? In fact, I do have a list, by the way, and I can share it with you today during the live stream and show you which other civilization, because as I say, I will continue that series. Whether it goes well or not, I'll just do it for the core audience. Who cares? And by the way, by funding the Plushy, you also funded my origins video on the Anglo-Saxons. So not only that's happening, guaranteed now, I will begin production in the next couple of days and we'll post it 100% this month. So you made that one happen. But on top of it, I decided to also make a special on the Anglo-Saxon language, and that one will be posted on the same day, simultaneously, on my second channel, Metatron's Academy. So, you know, as a way to thank you, I always want to give more, right? That's what I want to do. So on that day, if you see the drop on the Metatron's channel for the history of the Anglo-Saxons, then you know that, oh yeah, I can have an Anglo-Saxon field day because I'll have the language one. And I was thinking, on the second channel, I recently made a video on Middle English, so the way medieval people actually sounded. And in order to give an example, I basically recited the Lord's Prayer, but in medieval English. So I'm going to do the same with Anglo-Saxon. We're going to recite and read the Lord's Prayer, but in Old English, because Anglo-Saxon or Old English are interchangeable. They mean the same thing. But it's going to sound so different, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah. The ghost says, okay, I'm already impatient for the Anglo-Saxon videos. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming soon. They're coming soon. Doing well, Neo. Thank you for asking. From Germany. Very cool. Very cool. Should I say Dankeschön? And, yeah. 10% of your sales came from him doing an okay. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Not even that. It's like even the simple fact that I made a response video and I put the plushie on the response video. So yeah, what can I tell you guys? Here we are. Here we are. How long did you play Warhammer? Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, I started playing Warhammer in 5th edition when I was 13. And then I just played through 6th edition. Then I stopped. Then I returned, tried 7th. But by that time, 8th was out. I preferred 8 over 7. Man, 7 had some really ridiculous spells, let me tell you that much. So I did 8th. And then we tried the 9th Age. And that's it. So yeah, no, I've had big intervals. But... so how long have I been playing Warhammer? Yeah, I have to, like, I did it for a couple of years, and then there was a massive, like, 10 years block where I didn't, and then went back to it. But when it comes to how long I've been collecting Warhammer armies, then we could easily say 30 years. 30 years. I started 30 years ago. Yeah. So there's that. A live Metatron, yeah, thank you for being here, God's favorite end. Just a fantasy version of 40k? Mostly fantasy. I do own some 40k minis, mostly for collecting purposes. I'm not against the idea of playing it, though. I just have to find someone that I can play it with, because here's the thing. When it comes to Warhammer Fantasy, I have like 7 complete armies, fully painted. So whenever a friend is over, I can lend them an army. I'm like, who do you want to play? I'm going to play High Elves. Who are you going to play? Do you want to play Bretonia? Here you go. Do you want to play Dark Elves? Check them out. Want to play Chaos? Here they are. So like I can give them an army and we can play. But with 40k, I don't have that. So I need to find someone who also plays in my area that we could have a game, I suppose. A match, whatever you want to call it, a battle. So yeah. You and Luke Ranieri are my favorite language YouTubers. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Luke is the top. Luke is number one. So so there is that. I go and watch Luke's videos to learn stuff. Just to say, it's not the other way around. It's not the other way around. Yeah. Thank you so much, Zumbi, for the support. Metatron, there is a very important video from a Brazilian YouTuber named Felca that's called Adultização. It got English subtitles. It's a must-watch, and it's awareness about online child AB. Well, I understand, sure. I mean, it's a very important thing, but I wouldn't be able to understand anything. I understand there are English subtitles. I'll look into it. It's just that this, immediately I know it's going to get demonetized, which is ridiculous. They shouldn't demonetize that. But demonetization on YouTube is just nonsense. It really is nonsense. I'll have a look into it, though. Definitely. I don't know if it only has to do with the Portuguese-speaking sphere, sphere, if you want to call it that way, or online sphere, or the world in general. So we'll have to see. Oh, the Soki. I see records of them fighting for the Romans during the Punic Wars, but then they simply disappear from records sometimes during the wars in Gaul. Yeah, I did mention them on my video on Roman secret services. So you can find some information. I would kind of move you towards that video if you want. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like, the thumbnail, very quickly. But I don't have a dedicated video. Maybe, I don't know, because that one didn't do very well. It's the usual thing with YouTube. Don't even want to bore you. So Metatron. Yeah, this one. I mean, look at that thumbnail. Come on, you gotta give me that. Look at that thumbnail. Look at that. Ancient Roman secret agents. I do mention them a little bit on this video, and it's not in depth on that specific, but they are mentioned a couple of times. So so there's that. I hope that helps. Let's get back to this. Want to have this? Maybe, well, that could be anything really. It doesn't really matter what we get for now. And I do have a few videos that I want to review with you guys today. So we're starting just chatting a little bit, and then I'll move onto the actual videos that I have in mind that I've already prepared in the tabs here. Sneaky metal armor, very sneaky. I know, but it just looked better on the thumbnail. It is what it is. Yeah, it is intriguing. They did have that. Yeah, they did have secret services, and they change with each emperor as well, the way they operated and whatnot. And in fact, even in the Republic, we know that Caesar or Caesar was using them already for like intelligence, information gathering, spying, and all of that. They were even using codes to write stuff and not be understood. It's actually quite sophisticated. They were, what's the word? Infiltrating. There is evidence in the sources of even infiltrating the enemy, particularly if you had someone who was like bilingual and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, if you could have a one-period region of fashion become the next global hit, what would it be and why? For me, it's going to be late 15th century, Central Italian, I'm going to say, like Central Northern, maybe like Tuscany. Goodness gracious, that stuff looks amazing. It wouldn't be amazing, both for men and women. I think it would be such an upgrade. Yeah, I don't know what it is when it comes to both. The way we dress is nothing even compared to people in the 1800s already, or 19th century, maybe I should say, because 1800s means from 1801 to 1809, like 18, right? So I actually mean the full century already. Never mind the Middle Ages, which looked incredible, stunning. Like, what is it with a t-shirt and a pair of jeans? I mean, jeans are cool, but you know what I mean. And but yeah, and architecture is another one. Like a lot of the buildings we make, maybe like one of those skyscrapers in New York that look really cool, glass and steel. Like, I can see an appeal to that. But a lot of residential buildings and apartment blocks Are you joking? Like, compare them, and even bridges. Look at the average buildings for residential areas in medieval Europe, and then the average buildings for, and the average look of bridges in the Middle Ages. They look phenomenal compared to what we do. We do rectangles. It's such a downgrade, if you ask me. It's such a downgrade. Even churches, I mean, look at medieval cathedrals. Not that it matters, right? For a matter of faith, it doesn't matter. You don't need to have, in fact, if anything, maybe something is too opulent. It might be counterproductive. It's not great. But as an architectural structure, they are breathtaking. They are gorgeous. And yeah, so it is what it is, I suppose. Public offices, everything is at a downgrade, if you ask me. But yeah, I don't know. For me, greatest Roman general is gotta be Scipio Africanus. Germanicus is a good second, the way he handled the, after the terrible defeat at Teutoburg Forest, then, however you pronounce it, I don't know. Teutoburg, I don't know. But so he did a pretty good job, but Scipio Africanus, probably, I'm going to have to go with him. So, would I wear it on public? I already do. It's like I wear my armor in freaking public. And yeah, I actually very much agree with what you're saying. I think people should wear what they like and normalize wearing clothes from other regions and times. I 100% agree. 100%. And there are already areas, like in Japan, you can generally speaking wear whatever the heck you want. And in fact, the more original you look and eccentric you look, the more people usually praise you. That's my experience. Whereas in Italy, it's kind of the other way around. People tend to be, it's kind of different region by region, but in general, people tend to be quite close-minded. Like if you don't dress the way other people dress in the given trend, often you will be mocked. I noticed that in America, I don't know, I guess it also depends state by state. I do feel like I have no idea how it would look, but as I say, I've always been a massive proponent since I was a child, like a teenager. Like if a kid was getting ridiculed in school, I'd be like, oh, he's free to dress however he wants. Like, people should be allowed to dress however they want. So yeah, absolutely, I want to wear a medieval suit of armor. And if it doesn't have to be armor, because armor can be dangerous. Like someone, like if you bump into someone and you're clad in steel, you're gonna really hurt them. I know from experience. So maybe armor, I can see how it can be a problem sometimes. But when it comes to clothes, oh goodness gracious, bring it back. Bring it all back. Bring it back. Like the way even women dressed in the Middle Ages. It's, yeah. If you don't cook well in Italy, get mocked. Well, yeah, but that one is fine. I agree with that one. And as I say, it depends region by region, town by town. Of course, I don't want to generalize too much, but I'm saying in my experience. Oh my gosh, Milan Cathedral, Il Duomo, we call it Il Duomo di Milano. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, of course, very Dark Soulish, 100%. Dark Soulish takes from Gothic architecture. There is a lot of mixture, and I love it a lot. Thank you, Ray. This is a reminder to say, screw modern minimalist architecture. Yeah, bring back architectural style of the past. I agree. Thought swords were illegal to wear, you mean W-E-A-R, in Japan. Yeah, without a sword. You don't have to wear a sword. Yeah, and even though they are illegal, but I've seen a lot of people wear swords during reenactment. Like if you're dressed up like a samurai and you're part of a reenactment group, they walk around with swords. It's just that I don't think they are sharp. But yeah, no, you can't. But even in Italy, if you walk around with a sharp katana, and even a blunt katana, in fact, you will be stopped. So there's that. I think there is a situation there. Yeah, it's how it is. But I mean, removing the sword for a moment, and you're just dressed, no problem. How do you like San Marino? Never been, unfortunately. It's like what, the smallest country? I want to say in Europe. Is it the smallest country in the world? You'll correct me, I'm sure. I kind of have a feeling it is. No, maybe the Vatican is. What's smaller, San Marino or the Vatican? I wonder. which was the better functioning state, the Roman Republic or Roman Empire? If you ask people during the Empire, they would tell you the Republic. In fact, there is a lot of that sentiment in Roman literature. By the way, today we're going to read some Latin. I've got some Latin prepared for you guys, so we're gonna do some. We are gonna read some Vergetius and get some translation, because I've seen people pushing a myth and they keep repeating it in historical reenactment and on some YouTube videos. And the only reason why these myths exist is because people never open the freaking Latin. Given, I understand. You will tell me, but Metatron, come on, people can't translate Latin. Right, but Google Translate can, which is why it's one of my tabs. So I want to show you that it's actually easy. It does a really good job, by the way. I checked it. Google Translate, I don't know what happened. It used to be horrible. Now it's actually really, really good. So you can indeed translate, send. I'm not saying read the entire freaking thing, I understand. But you could at least, if you're repeating a myth and you say that Vergetius said it, well, go and look for the freaking 2 sentences. We'll do it together today. You'll see it does not take a long time. We'll do it. We'll put it in Google Translate, and then you'll see, oh, so it's a myth. Yes, it's that simple. You don't even need to know Latin. You don't even need to know Latin, guys. It's that simple. So we're going to have a really good time, I hope. And also, so I prepared 3 videos today that I wanted to review with you. Praise be to Pompeii. I agree, Pompey, actually, because this is... yeah, this would be more like the city, but yeah, sure. Glory to Pompeii, the other one. But yeah, no, I agree. Glory to him, always glory to Pompey. And I was going to say, oh, by the way, since we are talking Latin, the city of Pompeii, if you're interested, the E is long. So it's Pompeii. Both the E and the E are long. Just for fun. Just for fun. You don't need to, but just for fun. Yeah. Oh, that's a funny one, Marco, but I'm not going to translate. I know exactly what you mean. Nicholas, Metatron, that stuff about checking the sources reminds me of the lies about Lord of the Rings, Warhammer, Star Wars people say without checking the novels. Yeah, that too. I mean, they can be applied to anything, including fiction. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because fiction has a law, and that law can be canon. And once it becomes canon, then that's the truth within that reality and that sphere. So, if you say there are no elves in Lord of the Rings, you're objectively wrong. Even though we're talking about fiction, within that fiction, there is still a canon, right? And it's just the way it works. Did you play the Total War? Oh my gosh, I put a lot of hours in Total Wars, my friend. Absolutely. Love him. Love him. Yeah. Rome Total War is the one I played the most, as I imagine you would know. And, yeah. Angel Minoan female fashion. Oh yeah, they are the best. They are the best, particularly women. I think they are really good. Their fashion is excellent. I 100% agree with it. Absolutely. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. I do need that drink, so let me get the drink. Well, should I drink, though? I just had the protein shake. Maybe I should wait. Can you mix soda with a protein shake, or is that going to be... Well, I'm at the end of the day, protein powder is food, right? That's really what it is. It's food. So I don't even know if it counts as a supplement. Probably. I mean, if you want to be technical about it, it's just food in a different medium, but it is food. So the same way you could drink a soda while you're eating, you probably can drink a soda even if you just had a shake. Soda is just water, sodium, and sugar. A lot of sugar. I live in America. In fact, I got the 0 sugar version. So yeah. You want to move to Japan so badly, but sadly, I probably never even get to visit the place. You can try save for it. Usually the return ticket is about $1,000. You can get one. It can be more expensive, but if you get it like with a little bit of, a good moment to do it, maybe you could get away with 1,000. So you would have to consider that. And then it depends how long you want to stay. Then there is the prices for the hotels and whatnot. But if you're not too spendy about it, I think you could make a 2 weeks in Japan for 2 to 3, probably, is what you're going to look into. But you can reduce it depending, on if you have someone that you can stay at, then you can shave off $1,000. or if you're okay with very small spaces and you don't need a big hotel, you can shave off even more. But yeah. Back to daily streams? No, not yet, because I need to finish my testing. As you know, today is the 11th, and I've done, so this entire month I've been posting every other day rather than daily. And the last probably week on last month, I was also doing every other day. So I want to see if we are going to test this until the 15th. And then if I can continue, I'll try until the 30th. And then next month, I'm going to, if needed, I'll resume back to daily uploads and then streaming more often. I'm just testing. When do the tests end? As I say, it depends. In theory, it should end at the end of this month. But if by the 15th, my revenue has spiraled down and the money's starting to get a problem to pay the mortgage, then I'll have to stop the test and resume daily. So it really depends on how it's going. Yeah. So it really depends. Testing, yeah, I am testing the waters because we want to always see how the algorithm does. I've seen people telling me, oh, Metatron, you post too much and I don't have enough time to watch. So, and also some people were saying, of course, if I post every other day, I could up the quality. Problem is that I've been doing this for about almost, 20 days. And what I noticed is that the individual views of the uploads seem to be higher, but the overall views of the channel are significantly lower, which translates to a much less smaller revenue, like big time. So, of course, I'm trying to put more sponsors to try and counter that out. So, like, I've been sponsored by boot.dev is sponsoring me, a programming, which is pretty cool. And then I have a new VPN that is sponsoring me, Ghost VPN. And then there was talk for possibly War Thunder, but we are still discussing the fees. And I'll have to see if I can fit a fourth sponsor. That would be good because it would recover. So I'm trying to look at options. And I did want to test because I did 11 months of daily. It's not like I did 1 month of daily. I did 11 months of daily upload. But it's the way I see it, I think it's inevitable for me. I will have to return to daily upload. I don't really have a choice, but at least I wanted to base it on a month of testing rather than my own experience and analytics reading, right? Speaking of sponsors, how long do your codes tend to last for? It depends on the sponsor. Sometimes they're like 2-3 days. Sometimes they're a week. It really depends on the sponsor. Yeah. Come to Brazil. I would love to. Man, I would love to go to Brazil. Absolutely. When is the next Bible video coming out? Those take a very long time to make, and the last 2 didn't do well, which is why I still haven't posted the third one, because when you invest like a month of research and preparation, filming, script writing, and then the video flops, it is a disaster. So I hope that the next one, which is the one on the flood, will do better, but I'll have to see. I still don't know. Can't give a date really. But the fact that I post every other day does allow me to work on the scripts longer and all of that. So yeah. Oh, by the way, it's possible that I will meet. It's not 100% confirmed. He has to check his schedule. But if you guys are familiar with vlogging through history, it's possible that we will have an in-person meet. In fact, I have invited him to my house. I said, you should come to my place because he's in the area. He's going to be in the area for filming. As you know, he's very much into like Civil War and that kind of American history. So he has come to the area here. And I told him, hey, why don't you should come to my place. I actually told him, hey, if you have time, come for a coffee. Let's film something together. But also told me we would love to have you for lunch, whatever you like. And we'll see if we can make it happen, but I do believe it's going to happen, guys. So we will, you might have a video one day, or maybe even a stream, where he's here with me. Wouldn't it be great? I think it would be great. He's an awesome guy. He's really cool. You don't like vlogging through history? I like him a lot. I really like him a lot. I think he's really cool. Plus, here's the thing. He has reacted to a few of my videos, and he was always civil, respectful, never twisted my words, always approached them with an open mind. I mean, come on. After all the hatred that I've received from from certain YouTubers out there, that is enough for me to be like, okay, nice guy, nice guy, nice guy. And that's all I care about, you know. If people are respectful, they are nice, they're honest, their videos are in good faith, then that's great to me. And that's all I care about. He does have a dad vibe. Yeah, yeah. I think he's a pastor, isn't he? No, I like the guy a lot. Yeah. An interest in the Arabic language. Yes, but I've never studied it ever, so I don't know anything at all. And to be fair, even though I do find it interesting and I would like to study it at one point, I would first give priority to Nordic languages. I'm more interested in Nordic than I am in anything Arabic related. So if I do get to pick another language in the near future, but that only happens after I reach fluency in Mandarin, because I'm conversational, but I'm not fluent, and it annoys me that I still haven't reached fluency in it. And so once I do that, if I am open to another language, it's going to be a Nordic language at that point. I appreciate that, Scott W. Thank you very much. Danish is supposed to be really hard. I think I would probably do Swedish, to be honest. Either Swedish or Norwegian, but the latest tackle with a Norwegian kind of notched me on it. Get away from it. I'm joking. But yeah, either Norwegian or Swedish, but I'm kind of thinking probably Swedish. Yeah, I know, it's fun, yeah. Daniel. Yeah, 9,000 subscribers to go, absolutely. Let me double check that I didn't like forget any super chat. I don't want to be disrespectful, but there we go. Have you tried the new Battlefield demo? What, Battlefield 6? Not yet, no. I would have to clear some space on the computer. I know you can relate. These games, every game is like 200 freaking gigabytes. I don't have space. Let me see. I believe I read everything. Yeah, I did. All right, cool. Probably not. I'll be honest with you, probably not. As a Swede, I would pick Swedish. Yeah, that's the one. Also because I have a friend who is also Sicilian like me, and he's fluent in Swedish because he moved to Sweden and lived there for 5 years. And he really put in an effort. He said it was difficult at first because too many people were good at English. And so he said it was harder because people would switch to English. He said even a freaking homeless guy started speaking English in a way that it's better than most Italians. So it's kind of funny. I don't know what it is with Southern Europeans. It's getting better though. If you look at people who are like 40 plus, then their English is pretty bad in Italy. But people who are like 15, 14, like the kids are actually pretty good now. So this generation of Italians, so Italians in general, I want to say Italians that have a 2000 in their birthday, tend to be better, but Italians that are before that, they're still the 19 in their birthday. They're usually pretty bad. So there's that. But yeah, no, so he said that, but he also said that eventually, once he actually started to be able to form coherent sentences and all that, he said that people started to speak back and then he would understand. Like I heard him once he was on the phone with me and he took a cab, a taxi, and he did everything in Swedish, and it was nice to hear. So it's a beautifully sounding language, I'll give you that much. So yeah, thank you, Med. Have you seen Battle of Thermopylae, Spartan defeat as it happened? History. Oh, it's history hit. No, but here's the thing. I don't think I'm gonna react to history hit again for a long time, because I don't know what it is, but I believe, maybe not you, but the majority of my community is bored by it. So now the last 6 videos that were reacts to history hit did not do well at all. So I can't do it anymore. I can't justify it. So I'm not reacting to history hit anymore for now because the videos don't do well. They used to, they don't anymore. So I think either it's the algorithm not letting you know, or it is also possible that people go bored. They're like, that's another history hit reaction. So I'm not going to do those anymore for now. What's the English oligarch Masons? I don't know what that is. Thank you, Piotr, for 5 membership. We already got 10 members and we just started. I really appreciate that. Cool name. Piotr Suwawa. I think that's the Polish L, isn't it? The one that is a W. or watch me fail miserably, embarrass myself. But I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Because it's not a ditch guy. Even my last 2 on the ditch guy didn't do well. I don't know. Oh yeah, Icelandic is fascinating. I think it's the most linguistically conservative of all Nordic languages, isn't it? Thank you, Ray. To be fair, a lot of the guys in the YouTube history community are pretty chill people. I agree. Chris, Terry. Oh yeah, History Underground. They're all pretty cool. I like Terry. Terry's another one who did very honest reviews of my videos. And when I say honest, I only mean good faith. I mean people that actually know how to steelman someone's argument before they attack it. And I noticed that both of them mostly agreed with my points. But Terry did disagree on quite a few things. But he was polite about it. He never twisted my words. In fact, if anything, he was generous. Sometimes when I said something, he would say, yeah, maybe it means this, or maybe it doesn't mean that. So they were very forgiving, if you will. Maybe if I expressed something and in my mind, in my script, it was clear, but maybe it wasn't. So I like both. Vlogging Through History and History with Terry are really good channels. And I consider them as people that I would absolutely work with in the future. And that's how it is. Yeah, the algorithm keeps changing. You're right. That's also a possibility. Which is why, and I want to tell you this very quickly. So right now, the algorithm seems to be favoring individual videos regardless of community size. What this means, and that's something that a lot of YouTubers have been complaining about, what this means, it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have anymore. It is annoying for people who have been building communities for over a decade, but it's also good for people who just started a channel. Because what happens now is that you'll see a channel with 30 million subscribers like Jacksepticeye, who laments terrible views. He says, my people don't get the notifications. My videos don't get views as they used to. So you'll see that. And then channels like me, Shad, Scalagrim, people with established communities, it's really hard to get views. But then you see a channel with 2,000 subscribers getting 400,000 views. And hey, if the video is good, I say, great, I'm happy for you. But if the video sucks, it annoys me, right? Anyways, what I'm doing is I decided to test this in the following manner. And if you're a content creator, you're consider this because it might help. I said, well, let me try and focus a little more on the second channel because he has 1/10 of the subscribe base. At the time, he had 80,000 subs. And I tried making a few videos that I thought could work. One did explode, got 2 million views, even though the channel had less than 1/10 of the subscribe base of this one. And because of that, the channel actually grew, and it's at 125,000 now. So the next project, it's actually on my third channel. I'll show you my other channels in a second, Tien. My third channel only has 14,000 subs, which means it's actually good in terms of how the videos could do individually. So I've been filming a video where I'm only allowed, it's an experiment, and I'm only allowed to use tech from the 1980s. So it's a time capsule experiment. And I've already done it, it's fully filmed, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't live, if you noticed, because I couldn't be live because there was no live streaming. So anyways, I'm posting that one on the third channel specifically because I think it could explode, whereas if I post it here, it's going to do really badly. And that's what's going to happen. So just to show you very quickly one thing. So that video, it's very high production, and I believe it could do well, and we'll see. So right now, really, if you go to anyone's channel, not just me, and you scroll down, you'll always see my other channels or related channels. And in this case, these are my 3 channels right now. I've got Metatron Clips, I've got Protectorate, and Academy. Protectorate is the one about tech, and Academy is about languages. So if you think about it, when I first started Metatron, it was a channel about video games, history, and languages. Now, I mostly decided to specialize Metatron into history and civilization, and instead the language department was migrated entirely to Metatron's Academy, which is the only channel where I post language content now. And Protectorate is instead my pet channel, where I enjoy doing all sorts of tech, video games, and all that kind of stuff. So that video will be posted soon, I hope, onto Protectorate. I've been editing it. It's a really nice vloggy type video. And we'll see how it goes. But that's what we need to deal with YouTube lately. It's just one of those things. What can I tell you? Just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. No, I know 2 million views were amazing for me to hit with that video. On the second channel, are you joking? I mean, 2 million views on this channel would be like, goodness gracious, let me take my wife to the restaurant to celebrate. So when it happened on the other channel, I was like, that's crazy. This is wrong, Alan. Like, you're objective. If it's a constructive criticism, I do appreciate it, but you're still factually wrong. Of my last 20 uploads, 2 are reacts, 18 are my original content. It's not true. And what you're saying, there was a time where I did increase the amount of reacts. It's true. But it was never a full React content channel. But I want to tell you this much. The only reason why I started doing so many reacts is because the channel was dead. Like, the channel was dying. I was getting no views whatsoever with my original content. So I tried, and I said at one point, I was like, this is not working anymore. The channel is dead. I need to try and breathe in life into it. And so what I decided to try is, like, let me react to Lex Fridman. I reacted to a video of Lex Fridman when he had a historian, and instead of getting 15,000 views, which was the average at the time a year ago, I got 200,000. So I'm like, oh, maybe there is something into this. So I started peppering, oh, let's react to Joe Rogan. Let's react to this other history hit. Let's react to Wired. And the views were 10 times what they were before, which literally saved my channel. So you say that I'm killing my channel. The reality is it was already dead. And I resurrected it with a react. Now, the problem is that, of course, at one point, the percentage of reacts was going a little high. Some of you said, hey, I don't like the React content. I understand that, which is why now we are in a position where I mostly do original, but it's killing the channel again. So it's not me. YouTube is forcing my hand, and what I'm trying to do is to try and balance it. I'll do some reacts to try and help with the algorithm. I'll do original content for the people that like it. I'll do old school Metatron videos because I know some of you really like those, even though the algorithm punishes me for it. And I try to make everyone happy. Unfortunately, it's not possible because then there will be like someone like you again. I'm not treating you like a hater, but I'm speaking to you like a man. Like, I'm speaking to you and telling you this is how it is. I can see it through the analytics. You will click on the React video, you will ignore my original content, and you will tell me all you do is reacts. So then I'll make the original videos, and then on the original videos, there will still be people accusing me of all you do is react. So at that point, I might as well, if you know what I mean, since I'm going to get accused anyways. And that's just, and again, I'm speaking very calmly. I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything, but I'm saying I'm trying to do what I can to save a channel that was already heavily hit by the algorithm in a way that, and this didn't happen only to me. Look at the views for Scalagrim. Look at the views Shad gets. They have twice the amount of subs I have. They should get hundreds of thousands of views per upload. We are all struggling with views. And one way or the other, we need to survive, right? So that's how it is. But I do appreciate the criticism because I know it comes, I hope it comes from a place of, oh, I liked the channel before where all you were doing is helmets and armor. Absolutely, I know. YouTube doesn't allow me to anymore. I'll still do it though, particularly because of members. Tonight we got 10 members, guys. So thanks to the members, I still do it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love your content. I appreciate that, Scott. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So that's why I'm saying, like, unless usually I try to look at criticism in a constructive way, regardless of how people word it. The only situation in which I'm like, oh, hater, is when people insult me. At that point, it's a hater. I don't even care. At that point, it's a hater, if you know what I mean. But I think I do know that there are people that are like, no, they really do care for the channel. It's just that it's a fight. It's a constant struggle. And here we are. Yeah. Necromancer, absolutely. That's why we did the Plushy, which was a success. Thank you so much for that, by the way. And yeah, I hope to be able to do some Chinese history. Absolutely. Totally. Won't lie, I prefer no React content and more content you did yourself. Me too. It doesn't work anymore. Me too. Like if I did 10 personal, original, old school Metatron videos and they all hit 100,000 views, you wouldn't see me do a react ever. I'll be honest with you. I enjoy more getting a freaking helmet and tell you, look, this is a transitional sallet, the one I have there. Here is how the visor works. If I do that, it's going to cap at 8,000 views. Better to laugh than to cry. Pens and pen blades. Metatron, do you have a favorite historical weapon? Yes. One-handed spada di lato is my favorite. 13th or 14th century. Although then again, the tuck of the 15th century is also something I really like. One of those two. Yeah. Oh yeah, the haters I don't care. They could F off. I mean, the haters, if anything, I'll monetize the shit out of them. It's not the haters. All I care about is the fans, like, right? The hardcore fans of the channel that have been here for many years. And they're like, oh, but I liked it more this way. So I do care about them, and I try to explain to them and try to figure out a way. We keep testing ways to try and do a little bit of everything and see what we could do. Yeah, I personally loved the Max Miller reactions. Those were probably the only React videos that I enjoyed doing. Max Miller ones, because he's awesome. And by the way, today I am going to react to a couple of things. I hope it doesn't offend you, but I am going to react a little bit. But to be fair, I found the channel that is so under the radar and is wrong, and it annoyed me because now I take it personally. And I think he deserves a react. He really deserves a video where perhaps I can give him a little exposure, and hopefully we'll get some subscribers out of it. And I do think that, again, I'll try to make it transformative. I'll try to add a lot. In fact, as I said, we're going to read some Latin today to substantiate some of my claims. And we will, at the end of the day, make it into a historical presentation. And hopefully will help. Of course, you're a Muppet, Joe. Haters going to get harvested like wine. Absolutely, my friend. What advice would you give for trying to discern what way to read a kanji in Japanese? Yeah, onyomi versus kunyomi. I mean, there are some rules, but they sometimes work, but sometimes they don't. So that's the problem. At the end of the day, a lot of it is mnemonic, unfortunately. Again, there are some overall rules. Like usually when there are a set of several kanjis with no hiragana, and you don't know, you're more likely trying with onyomi, but it's not always the case. Osaka, for instance, is kunyomi, but it's two kanji together, so there are exceptions to that. Thank you so much, Evil Black, for the Metatron memberships. There you go, 20 members already. Yeah, I do need to start going live a little more often, to be fair. Live streams are great. Mithren says, channels like for you are Shadiversity, Tick History, Arch Warhammer, Sargon, and several others like Shad History and some others. What about it? Mary, an idea, but would be interesting talking about the comparison of Neo 2 between the adventure and the history books. I believe I did make a video on Neo. Maybe it was Neo 1. I don't think I've ever done Neo 2. As for the channels you mentioned, yeah, of course, Shad is a friend of mine. I never watched Tick History, to be honest. Never watched him. I've heard of him through Freda, but I don't trust Freda judgment, but I don't know much about Tick History. I know what he looks like because I've seen a thumbnail of his, but I never really watched his content. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the making. I mean, in theory, I've mostly... It's in the making, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to give promises, but it's... and say dates, but hopefully I'll get it done soon. That's what I hope. We'll see. So, yeah. Let's see. Metatron the Undertaker, that's funny. Mo Shindeiru, yeah. Well, now it's resurrected at least. Now it's resurrected. I don't do Japanese cooking. I pay people to get me some good Japanese. Any gaming tonight? Depending on how long it takes. We'll have to see. Probably not, but I won't say completely no because you never know. We'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna start having a look at some of the things that I had in mind. So for instance, I want to show you this channel because I think the channel is really worth it. It's a really good channel. And let me see if I can show you. Give him a little exposure. So here we are. I don't know if you are aware of this channel. Let me move chat to the side. But if you're not aware of this channel, I'm going to give you the link now so you can subscribe if you want. I really think you would love this channel, by the way, for those of you who are not aware of it. So anyways, this channel is called Alex the History Guy. Alex the History Guy. Let me show you a little bit and then I'll give you the link. All right. So 33,000 subscribers. He says, I like history. Tell me about it. And so what he does, it seems to be one of those historical reenactment channels that teaches you history, but I mean, look at these thumbnails. My gosh, you know, and this is one of the things that really annoy me. 2,000 views, well, 15 is pretty good, 51 is really good, but 1,000 views? Why? 1,000 views? Come on, 43 is good, 1,000, it's the usual YouTube nonsense. Already, I think the thumbnails look fantastic. And I believe I've heard, people told me, I watched a little bit, but people told me it's really good for the historical information. Look at this. The English Middle Ages, the entire history, 1 hour video. Saxon, he has a lot of stuff on the Saxons, by the way. Saxon Huskarl, Saxon Thane. Hastings, they reenacted the battle. Oh my gosh, look at that. Come on. Okay, guys, let's be serious about this. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm giving you the link to this channel. We're going to pick a video now, and we're going to check it together. And then, as I say, I will provide some commentary and whatnot. Blackened armor, medieval joust, of course. Like medieval just 1,000 views. Come on, give me a break, YouTube. Give me a break. And you know why this pisses me off so much? Because there are AI slop channels that teach you the wrong history. The guy put no effort whatsoever. It's not even the voice. The voice is AI. The script is AI. The thumbnail is AI. The images is AI. And they get 1 million views, 300,000 views. And a channel like this, with this much effort, is ignored by the algorithm. You subscribed? Thank you very much. Now, obviously, we have a lot of possibilities. What I see here is mostly medieval, high medieval, early medieval, late medieval, ancient Rome, and Napoleonic warfare is probably, I do see a little bit of early modern era as well, but I'd say that kind of describes what we are dealing with. But I'm a Rome fanboy, so we're going to check out the legionary video together. It's only 8 minutes, and it's titled How a Roman Legionary Shall Be Armed. And I do want to check it with you, and I will provide as much commentary as possible. So without further ado, let's go. They have a very cool intro, by the way, so I'm not going to interrupt them during the intro, and then I will interrupt, but I'll try not in a way that is not annoying. Let's put it this way. So, is this on? Yes. Let's check them out. Let's check them out. Let's go. Awesome. Testudo. All right, let's have a look. Let's see what he has got.
In 43 AD, legions of Roman soldiers came ashore to England in a second invasion, and this campaign, led by Emperor Claudius, was on a much larger scale than the previous invasion led by Julius Caesar. This Roman legionary wears a tunica, and typical Roman shoes called caligae. The legionary wears a subamalus.
Okay, so to first 47 seconds, I managed not to interrupt. I'm getting better, I promise. So let's talk a little bit about the way this legionary is dressed. So, of course, historically accurate. No leather bracelets. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for no leather braces. So, yeah, he's wearing the scarf. That's correct. And even the ring here is correct. This is great, because if you don't wear the scarf, the plates of the armor are going to produce chafing, and it's going to be horrible. The fact that he's wearing a sleeved tunic is historical. So absolutely correct. But the way I understand it for the literature that I've read, and if you look at iconography, it is in fact more common to see sleeveless tunics with the legionaries than to see sleeved ones. But sleeved ones still exist, are still part of the iconography, and it's difficult to really know the percentages because some could be artistic license. So this is great. What about the color? When it comes to colors and tunics, I do believe he mentions it because I did watch the video before, and I think he does mention the colors, but in general this is fine, particularly if we were to believe the words of Vegetius, and we will read some Vegetius together, but if we are to believe his words, this will be associated with the Roman navy, particularly in Britannia. But in general, was blue expensive? It depends on the hue. A blue like this one, they could use plants like woad, and it wouldn't be too expensive to realize. But there were also other versions of blue which could have been expensive as a dye. And that's the same with red, by the way. Red can be cheap or it can be expensive. Apart from that, love it.
Roman shoes called caligae. The legionary wears a subamalus, which is like an early version of a gambeson or undertunic. This provides a layer of padding for the plate armor which is worn later, and also helps cushion the impact of incoming attacks. The subamalus is laced tight at the sides, and features tassels around the bottom and the sleeves. These are called terigues, and while offering a small amount of protection, they are mainly a decorative addition. Despite popular belief, the Roman military did not all wear red as uniform. Indeed, many colours were present, most commonly beige, blue, green and yellow.
So it's Lindy Beige approved. Two things about this. So of course the subarmalis, which is a modern term, they did not use it in period. We don't really know how these were called, maybe Thoracomachus, but we don't know anyways. Subarmalis, for modern reenactment, it's fine to use the term. This is a speculative recreation, we haven't got a clue. We know they wore it. They did wear it both under hamata, so male, or gallica, if you want to use the... because lorica hamata is also not a period term. Gallica is. So it's possible that that's how they called it, because they did get it from the Celts. Anyways, continental Celts. So they did wear it. We know they did. We can see it in iconography, but usually you can see like these, the teruges, coming under. You can see a little bit of this, so you know they're wearing something, but they're not taking off the armor, so you don't know exactly. So these are all speculative. I have one of my own. It's a little on the shorter side, but yeah, so pretty cool. When it comes to the colors that he mentioned, he's right. In fact, I would say the most common color, if you were to walk into a Roman military camp, the most common color you would see is natural undyed linen, which kind of looks like a beige or a dirty white, but mostly a beige. So that would have been the most common. When it comes to battle, however, we are told by the sources, if we are to believe them, that they did wear red. Red was battle color. When it comes to Sons of Mars and whatnot. When it comes to blue, as we said, possibly with the Roman navy. He also mentions yellow and green. Now, yellow, sure. Green is quite expensive because in order to produce green as a dye in the Roman period, you have to first dye your tunic yellow, and then you dye it again to get it green. So the only evidence that I personally found, and if he watches this and wants to correct me, feel free, but the only evidence that I found points to the Roman palace guard wearing green, which would make it Asterix accurate. But Roman military wearing green, I haven't found sources to back that one up, but again, maybe he did, and so that would be great, but that's what I wanted to share. Let's continue.
The soldier wears his plate armor, which is called a lorica segmentata.
Yeah.
We do not know what the Romans actually called this armor, as the name lorica segmentata was coined by the Victorians some 1,800 years later.
Good information.
The armor consists of many segmented plates, which are hinged and strapped together, providing a good amount of mobility while also providing excellent protection against both slashing and stabbing attacks,
That's calcrise.
as each segment folds over the other, so there are no gaps.
Yeah. The fastening system is called Krise.
This reconstruction is based off a find from Kalkriese, which is the famed site of the Teutoburg Forest massacre in 9 AD. The
Shame on them.
find is the earliest example of Lorica segmentata ever discovered. As the artifact found was not complete, elements of the later Corbridge find has been used in this reconstruction. Some variants of Roman plate armor also featured segmented arm protection, which was...
Ooh, look at that scale. Oh, that looks gorgeous. Look at that scale in the background. What are you guys saying? Back from commercial. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Who else have we got? Hey, hello, T Dizzle. I got your plushie. Thank you so much. Looking forward to explaining it to my wife. Love that. Yeah. Let me see what else. Sorry, is this as bright and colorful as they would have worn? Yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes we do exaggerate it a little bit. Roman colors for like shields and whatnot sometimes involved milk-based colors, as among other things. So of course it's all going to be natural. You're not going to have chemicals in it. But you know, you can get some nice... Maybe when they were new, they could have been quite bright up to a certain extent. Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the way some of the Roman wall art looks, the colors look pretty nice, particularly when they're in good conditions. So up to a certain extent, quite saturated. But you could have still seen a difference between machine-made and handmade. You can already see it in our day and age. And then between, you know, chemical and natural colors and dyes. You want a set of armor? Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
It's called a manica. These additional pieces were developed during the Dacian campaigns, where the natives were using falx, a weapon similar to the scythe, with a curved blade which could sometimes hook over a shield and hit the legionary behind.
That's why they also put those cross reinforcements on the top of the helmet to avoid penetration. Oh, sorry to interrupt him again, but I forgot. About the tunic, there is also another color, and that's bright white. Pure white, and they did it by bleaching the tunics, which they could do. But as far as we know, they only use those during parades. So if you want to have a historically accurate triumphant parade of the military and the Roman forces inside a Roman city, they should be wearing white, like a nice clean white tunics.
The hinges and hooks on the Lorica segmentata are made from brass or copper, and originals have often been found with stylized decorations on the brasswork. A classic feature of the Roman military was the Gladius. This is a sword with a broad blade and a very severe point, designed specifically for stabbing and opening up large wounds with each thrust.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent information. That's what I say. This channel should get a lot more views. I want to discuss this now because this is the main point that I wanted to focus on in order to take it as an opportunity to clear massive misconceptions. So we're going to go into the sources now. So I'll have to pause for a second. But here it is. So what have we got here? We've got Roman legionaries training for combat. Now, one myth that you may have heard, if you notice, they're not using the regular scutum, the issued scutum that they would use for combat in war, but they're using a version that appears to be made of wicker. That's historically accurate, and it is mentioned in the sources, as we will see. And then they're using these wooden swords. They are usually named rudis in Latin, and they are used for training. Now, who among you, here's a question, has heard that the shields and the wooden swords used for training were double the weight? And the reason being to, increase muscle mass, and so that they would be quicker as they would switch then from the wooden heavy swords into the metal ones for actual combat. Who has heard that? Have you ever heard of that? He's not saying it, so this is not like a correction, but I do want to see if you've ever heard it. You know it's a myth, great. We'll go into the details of it. You heard that before? Yeah. We're gonna look at it now, and I'm not just gonna tell you here is how it is. No. We'll jump into the sources, and we're gonna read some Latin, because wood is so much lighter. Yeah, that too. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a think about it, even logically, if you have a gladius, one is made of iron, with maybe some bone for the handle and wood for the rest of the hilt, and then you have the exact same shape, but in wood. I mean, automatically iron is heavier than wood. Now, given, we do have to keep this in mind, however, that wood, the density of wood is not the same between the modern period, the classical period, and the medieval period. So in other words, for instance, in the Middle Ages, we know that ash was denser. Hence, something made of ash in the Middle Ages and something made of ash today wouldn't have equal weight due to differences in density. But that's not really the point. The idea is, so wicker you can get wicker to be quite heavy, but then again, it's wicker versus wood. Laminated wood, in fact, when it's a shield. So that's doable, at least. We'll see if it does happen in the sources. But the sword, the thing of, you heard about it. Great. I think a lot of you have heard about it. So let's do this. The situation is the following, and I'll prove it with the sources. But here's the situation. Are we told that the Romans trained with shields that were made of wicker, but they're double the weight of the standard issued scuta? Yes. It is mentioned in the sources, and that part is correct. Now, we don't know if this extends to the entirety of the 1,000 years between the Republic, the Kingdom, the Empire, later the Principate, Dominate. We don't know how widespread it was, but it is mentioned in the sources. So on the shields, I'm going to say possibly yes. But on the swords, absolutely not. So how do I back it up? And why did this myth become a thing? And here it is. The problem is, my friends, English. English is the problem. I'll show you. I'll show you right now. Give me 1 second. Let me open the correct page. Here we are. Okay. So, what we have here is Vegetius, right? And we are on Vegetius, the military instruction of the Romans, so De Re Militari. We are on book 1, chapter 11 is the section where they take this information. And so basically you would say, just to make it accurate, you would say liber primus. And then for chapter, maybe you could say like caput. I think caput will be the word. Caput means head, but it also means chapter. So anyways, chapter 11. And this is the part. So let's have a look at it. In English, we read, they gave their recruits round bucklers woven with willow, twice as heavy as those used on real service, and wooden swords double the weight of the common ones. And then it tells us the exercises with these at the post, both morning and afternoon. Okay, so when you read it in English, objectively, yes, it is a bad translation. I'll provide the correct one. In fact, I won't just provide the correct one. We're going to translate it together. But I want to show you this. So we are told that the shields, it says bucklers. This already is a nonsensical translation because you know what the Latin is? Scuta. Scuta. They're just shields. It doesn't use a different word, so I'll prove that in a second. But they were round. So already, if you really want to be Vegetius accurate, the shield should be round, double the weight. Fine on the shields. But what about the swords? We're told that they're given wooden swords double the weight of the common ones. Right. Are you ready to jump into Latin, guys? Interesting. I appreciate you like it, but let's go. Let's go into the Latin and let's see what we can do. So, Vegetius liber primus. This is the original Latin. Don't worry, I will not make it boring. Let's get a little closer, shall we? Okay, so let's identify these two sections in the original language. So the first section, the one about the shields, we're going to read this part here. So I'm going to read it normally first and then I'll translate. So we've got scuta de vimine in modum cratium con rotundata dexebant, ita ut duplum pondus cratis aberet. Okay, so as you see, it doesn't say buckler, it says scuta, shield, de of vimine, wicker. Correct? In modum, in a way, cratium. Cratium kind of means wicker work or a framework, it can be translated or wicker. Con rotundata, this is where it tells us that it's round. And then texebant is they weaved it. So they weaved in a round fashion shields made of wicker work. Okay? And then ita ut duplum, it had double pondus, weight, kratis, framework, aberet, had. So they had double the weight. Great. So this translation is correct. The only thing, not a buckler, it's a round shield, full stop. That's what it is. Okay. Now the part about the sword, and this, I really hope that once I edit this, it gets decent views, because this pisses me off so much you have no idea. This is the section about the swords, guys, and it's gonna be a big one. All right, so let's read it. Idemque clavas lignas dupli aeque ponderis pro Gladiis tironibus dabant. So, idemque means in the same manner, in the same way. And this is the big one. Clavas ligneas. Ligneas, if you are a Romance speaker, I know some of you are from Brazil, you'll immediately recognize this. Likewise, if you are Spanish, ligneas means of wood, wooden. Pedantic mode activated, absolutely. But this is the word they are using, clavas. It's not, what's the word for a Roman wooden sword? What's the word for a Roman wooden sword? Let's see if you guys know it. I'll give you the link. There we go. You were asking for the text. Here you have it. Full Latin, have fun. Do you guys know the word? I kind of said it earlier on, but what's the word for the wooden gladius in Latin? Let's see if someone gets it. See if someone knows it. Let's see if someone knows it. I did say earlier, yeah, rudis. Exactly. Rudis. Yeah, both on Twitch, and there we go. So, is it saying rudis? No, it's not using the word rudis. Does he ever, Wegetius, use the word rudis? Control F, rudis. Yeah, it does. Boom, here. So, he does have the word. It is in his book, but not in this section. So what does this word mean then? The word clavas means a club, like a wooden club, or a slat, with an A, not a U, you dirty-minded muppet. So, a slat, a wooden club. So, we're not talking about a wooden sword, we're talking about a wooden club. Let's continue. Dupli, double, aeque, ponderis. So ponderis is in the same manner of weight, so double weight. Pro Gladiis, instead of the gladi, so the swords. Tironibus is interesting because tiro is a recruit in the sense of a beginner, right? So it's for the recruits, and then dabant, they gave. So they gave to the recruits, not the veterans, the recruits, they gave, instead of the gladius, made of iron, they gave them wooden clubs double the weight, right? And then it tells us how do they use them. Exercebantur. You can kind of see the stem even if you speak English only. Exercise. So they were training at palos, which means the stake. So going back to this, right? Because we see this in reenactment a lot. What are they do? Are they training at the stake? No. So they should have a rudis. Because the rudis, which is lightweight, in fact, a rudis is lighter than a gladius. If they are training combat, they use the rudis. The only case in which they use the wooden club, like a big freaking chunk of a branch, if you will, which is double the weight as the Roman gladius, is when they train not in combat, but at the stake. And this misunderstanding would have never happened if people looked at the Latin. Now, given, I know that I gave you the translation like this, and you're like, well, yeah, but you studied Latin, I didn't. Fine, Google Translate, I'm going to show you. Look at this. I'm going to take this, let's do like, for instance, this one about the shields. I'm going to take the whole section, boom, copy. We're going to go to Google Translate. I'm going to put it here. What is it, Latin? There we go. They wove shields of wicker rounded in the shape of bars so that they had twice the weight of the bars. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan that he uses bars, but it doesn't matter. It kind of gives you the idea. You can find even word by word if you prefer. So we can go into this. You're like, what does ligneas mean? You put it in here, wooden, and now you translated it. So you can clear this by literally looking up the words if you haven't studied. He even translates it as wooden blocks. I personally prefer clavas, not this one. So it's not perfect, as I was saying, but it does give you an idea on how to do this if you have no, and it doesn't tell you sword, which already should put you in a position where you're like, okay, so maybe it's not the sword that is double weight. So this was just to tell you, without any training whatsoever, I understand that this can be a little bit, I don't know, because Latin is difficult. But unfortunately, this is the problem. It is a wrong translation. It does not mention double weight swords for this kind of training, and so this whole idea is not sustained by the sources unless you read them in English, because if you do, you imagine a buckler, you imagine double weight sword. Not there. And so that's what I wanted to share with you, with the sources. Let me say thank you to the people who are supporting the stream. Good to have you here, Lady Jennifer. You can always rewind. Thank you, Max, for becoming a member of the channel, Commander tier. Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, that's the idea. It's these are not supposed to be, so they are really chunky clubs. Those are the double weight one, and now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. And so here we are. Okay. So, with that being said, let me see if I missed any super chats. I think I said thank you to Evil Black already. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I think I responded to all the chats. Let's see what else they have to say, but I really wanted to make this point because this thing of, Wagetio says that they use double weight swords. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And I really need it. And he didn't say it. It's not a debunking to him. He's presenting excellent information. Once again, Alex, the history guy. I'm subscribed. Please subscribe. He's great. But I just wanted to clarify that.
Designed specifically for stabbing and opening up large wounds with each thrust, maximizing injury and blood loss to dispatch an opponent quickly. After the baldric, a second belt named a boltius is worn, which comes with jangly straps on the front called the cingulum. The cingulum is a rather curious component as their purpose is not yet confirmed, but it is understood that only soldiers were permitted to wear them, so they held a certain level of status.
Correct.
They weren't particularly useful as a form of protection, but some experts believe that they would have made a lot of noise during a military march.
Now, of course, that's English politeness right there, because I would have said they're completely useless as a form of protection, but he's like, they're not particularly useful because he's politer than me, more polite than me. Anyways, yeah, maybe they're used to keep the sword in place and the scabbard in place. That would be my guess, maybe. And with the hamata, if you put them very tight, they also help with weight distribution so that the weight is not on your shoulders, but it's at your natural waist. Maybe that's why the cingulum was a thing.
So they could have aided in psychological warfare, as the Roman legions would be heard louder and louder as they draw near. The legionary also carries a pugio, which is a small dagger with a similar blade to the Gladius.
Yeah.
The helmet, named a gallia, is worn. This classic style of helmet, which we associate with the Roman Empire, was actually first worn by the Germanic or Gallic tribes, and the Romans later adopted it for their own use. This specific design is called the Gallic Type A, and is one of the older versions of this style of helmet.
Type H rules. Type H rules. I wanted to say something else. Let me see. So, oh yeah, when it comes to his... So he's, of course, doing nothing wrong, but he's reading these Latin terms with an English pronunciation. Nothing wrong with it. The presentation is in English. Simply, for those of you who are curious, however, and you're like, but I'd like to know how it's pronounced in classical Latin instead, I will provide that in a minute after the presentation is over. Looking good.
The Roman military favoured a large shield called a scutum. This curved rectangular shape provided an excellent level of protection to the soldier, and was also used as a weapon in its own right. A legionary could use the metal boss in the centre of the shield to plough into an opponent, barging them back. But they could also slam the bottom of the shield down on an opponent's foot, debilitating them before thrusting their gladius into the injured opponent.
Now, I know for a fact that they must have got some SHIT,
on an opponent.
Some shit, I gotta say it, for this, which is correct. They're absolutely right. Yeah, it is a pretty shield. Maybe it had ceremonial use. Oh no, the cingulum. No, but as he was saying, it's correct for status. Like imagine if you're not wearing your battle gear, you can still wear the cingulum on top of your tunic, so that if you are in a civilian context, people still know you're with the military. So the cingulum, the belt, does have those functions as well. Now this is absolutely fine. I've already mentioned it on a few live streams. I know that some people, I just know that people probably, I need to check their comment section, because usually people, when they see this, you don't even know that you have to do, because this is supposed to be 9, right? So people are like, you don't even know it's 1, 10, and X. You don't even know that, and then it's perfectly fine. It's just 2 different ways to do it. Yeah, no, you can do it. It's that's what I mean. This is the subtractive version. This is the additive version. Simply, this one is more ancient. So this became a thing afterwards because it was more common. You needed to draw less lines. But this is simply a more archaic version to write for. You can write 4 like this. So imagine the V is not here and you're writing 1, 2, 3. In this version, you would do 5 minus 1, but in this other version, you would simply write 4, and it's absolutely fine. So, yeah, let me see if someone is making fun of them. I need to see it, because usually people don't, you're being polite, shouldn't it be? But some people are like, you don't even know, and then they are the ignorance, because, again, I'm not calling any of you ignorant, but when people are arrogant, to me, an ignorant, it also has to have a certain level of arrogance, because if someone is not arrogant, I wouldn't call them an ignorant, because I feel like I'm insulting the fact that they didn't, and that's not right. But when they're arrogant, I call them ignorant. Let me see. I need to see it. I need to see it. There we go. I knew it. I knew it. I freaking knew it. I knew it. Let's see. Let's see. Look, look, look. Lol. LOL. Glad someone else noticed that. Notice what? It's fine. Yeah, exactly. Not an error. The Roman themselves used correct. Yes. Did not know that. Well, at least is nice. At least this guy is nice about it. It was like, okay, didn't know. Fine. I'm keeping that in mind. Yeah, I know people jumped. Exactly. I love when people jump to fix errors who are only errors because of their own lack of knowledge. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Absolutely. But I'm actually surprised they're not getting arrogant shit, because then again, this is still not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, still kind of looks a little annoying from the point of view of someone who knows that they did do it. But sometimes people will be like, you're such an idiot, you don't even know. And those people are the best to debunk. They are the best to debunk. So anyways, as I was saying, absolutely fine to write 9 like this. Or to write it the other way, which is the other one. I can't think of the word now. I said it a second ago. But yeah, just wanted to say it. Yeah, Bigus Dicus wouldn't appreciate. He wouldn't. He wouldn't. A blue is fine as well. Blue is fine as a possible color. Yeah. Again, particularly in the Roman Navy, if we are to believe Vegetius' words, although he says that it's a blue that would blend with the waves of the sea, so I have to imagine a little darker, perhaps, due to the description. Usually it's translated as Venetian blue in English, the one that he actually mentions for the Navy. It basically becomes a form of tactical camouflage, if you really think about it. The way it's described in the Roman period, blue was tactical camouflage. When you look at it this way, it's actually fascinating, isn't it? What else do they have for us?
They could also slam the bottom of the shield down on an opponent's foot, debilitating them before thrusting their gladius into the injured opponent. Again, the classic yellow lightning bolt with wings on a red background is only one type of shield design, and indeed we do not actually know how their shields were decorated, as so few examples survive.
Ooh, look at that one.
We do know that soldiers of the Roman period particularly favoured the pagan god Mithras, who was often depicted slaying a bull, so this animal may have featured on Roman shields. The pilum came in 2 styles, often a heavy and light variant. These could be thrown into an opponent in volleys, particularly effective at short range, but equally they were used as a melee weapon to thrust over or to the side of the shield.
Like in the Battle of Alesia.
Due to the shield being so large, leg or arm protection wasn't seen as necessary by the Roman Empire, and the soldiers were well trained in tactics to protect themselves in combat in a variety of situations. using both.
Yeah, the thing about the legs, in the Republic and in the early kingdom, you do find leg protection, and in the imperial period, you do find it with officers and generals, legati. With the common heavy infantry, yeah, it's usually gone. And I agree with him, probably due to the size of the shield. Although then again, shields were pretty big, even when they didn't have iron. They only had a wooden spina, that's what they call it, the spine, and in the Republic, but sure, I agree with him. Let me see. Yeah, so far so good.
For Pelham and for Gladius effectively to dispatch an opponent.
This guy is awesome.
Again, despite popular belief, these swords weren't actually that short in comparison to other swords of the period.
Thank you. Thank you.
Later, the Romans adopted the spatha, which had a longer blade, often used by the cavalry unit called the equite.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say that, by the way. I mean, this one specifically, it's a Pompey, is it? Let me see. Is it a Pompey? Yeah, it's a Pompey Gladius. So mines would be even bigger than that, and the Gladius Hispaniensis would be larger. But in general, it's not short when it's longer than my almost as long as my arm from here, to be honest. It's all a matter of perspective. It's shorter than medieval swords, but for the classical period, you do find sometimes swords that are longer than this, but generally speaking, there are also some technical, particularly when you work with bronze, there are some technical limitations. And in general, this was deemed excellent because it was in pair with the scutum. So you are supposed to get really close anyways. It's basically kind of like it's the military professional version of using a shiv in a prison to stab multiple times. I mean, it's difficult to see it. It's really difficult to see it. So, very cool. All right. I'm not going to finish because I want to encourage you guys to go and finish the original video. I did promise, however, that I was going to tell you a little bit about the Latin pronunciation, and then we'll check chat again. So what we have here, so he mentioned the tunic in Latin, and this one as well, the subarmalis, so then again, not a period term, so pronounce it however you want. When it comes to the tunic, the Romans in Latin pronounce it tunica rather than tunica in English. They say tunica, and the U is long. The Gladius as well, Gladius, with the long U. I believe, is it long, the U, actually? I do need to double check it. Let me show you how to double check it, actually. Now that I think about it, Gladius. Maybe it's not long. Not long, it's short. Yeah, Gladius. So it has the little U, it means it's short. That's simple. Let me give you the link for this because it's an excellent website if you want to check Latin pronunciation, and it also provides phonemic vowel length, so Gladius, and the S should be a retracted sound, so kind of similar to the S like they pronounce it in Madrid Spanish or modern Greek. It's in between the S and the sh, so it's Gladius would be the pronunciation. Then he said the sword, the armor would be lorica segmentata. So both the O and the E are long. There he is. Lorica. Lorica. So it's not lorica. It's fine in English again before people get mad at me. Oh, Metatron, not everyone needs to know Latin. Well, that's because the empire is not a thing anymore. Otherwise, good luck saying that to the Romans. Anyways. So lorica, I'm just saying it for the people who are interested. And then segmentata has a long A in the last A. Segmentata. Not the last one, the one before, the penultimate. There you go. That's the word. So he said yeah, it's funny. By the way, this is not a mistake. There is a spelling mistake in the chapter. It's not the mistake of the creator. I know because I'm a content creator myself. It's automatic chapters. When they look like this, they're automatic chapters, so the mistake in spelling is due to the system. When they are manually introduced chapters, you would see them written here in the description. That's how it works. So of course that one is pilum. So the E is long, and the M is fully nasalized. Same for the shield, scutum. The U is long, the M fully nasalized, a bit like you do in Portuguese rather than Italian, where I would say naturally scutum, pilum, pasta. I'm exaggerating. But Italians, we do pronounce the M, and it's a modern thing. The Romans didn't. It was mostly a at the end of a word. So scutum, pilum would be imperium. It's how they pronounced it. And then the sword is a pugio, with the U being long. There it is. Pugio. Pugio. So just to give the pronunciation in Latin on this equipment if you're interested, and also giving you the link to online Latin dictionary, which is phenomenal resource if you're ever interested in knowing how to pronounce things in classical Latin or reconstructed pronunciation. All right, let's have a look at what you have to say. Thank you, Shane, for becoming a subscriber over on Twitch. I really appreciate that. You like Final Fantasy? I don't know. Oh, yeah. No, you can't do that. After a certain while, you got to put the X. That would have been funny, though, if that's how it worked. Like, good luck counting all of those. Yeah. Yeah. It depends, actually. Some soldiers could marry. Then, depending on what reforms you're looking, then they would be prohibited from getting married. It depends on the period, believe it or not. It depends on the period. If the stick is big enough, it can be scary too. Oh, yeah, the wooden club that we were talking about. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, Bestia Wheelies. Good to see you here. Yeah. Freedom Fallout is like... It is like the whole wear heavy weights in anime. It's terrible for building muscle and will damage ligaments. Yeah, whether or not they actually did do... I do believe that they must have used the heavier implements for training. Simply because modern science might tell us there is a little bit of a placebo, maybe, up to a certain extent. It depends. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that they wouldn't do it still. And maybe there are some benefits depending on how they did it. Who knows? Who knows? Once again, we don't know how common that would have been. How do we know how they pronounced it? I have a dedicated video on the second channel, and I break it down word by word, but just and sound by sound. But really to give you a very basic, quick answer, and if you want the full answer, do go to Metatron's Academy. The idea is they told us, and they write it. When you look at the way Roman writing, particularly on stelae, architecture, walls, and sometimes documents, you will notice that sometimes the way they write the I, like in fili, sometimes one I is taller and the other I is short. The tall one is a long vowel, like they wrote it. So the I, if it's literally written tall, then it means it's long. So you can see it if you know how to read it. And then otherwise, when it comes to other vowels like the O or the A, they put little accents on top. So if you don't know, you might think, oh, this is probably the thing, the wall, the mural getting damaged. No, those are intentional, and it's to tell us the length of the vowels. So yeah, they did tell us. Also, there is a way to reconstruct it when you read poetry, because poetry has a certain rhythm to it in classical period, whether it be ancient Greek or classical Latin. And therefore, when you know that something is supposed to rhyme within a certain number of syllables, then you can kind of count it mathematically and figure out the length of vowels. And so that's another thing. When it comes to, and other times you do have Latin grammarians that complain about people pronouncing the M. Like they do. They tell us, just stop pronouncing it like freaking barbarians. Meaning, okay, so the Romans didn't pronounce it. What does that mean? Very likely it's a nasalization. And then another thing, that's with the M. And then when it comes to the pronunciation of the C, as in Caesar, instead of Caesar, for instance, which is the ecclesiastical Latin, the way we know it's a K is because in surrounding cultures, they spell it with a K or the equivalent. So, Kaiser in Germanic languages, if the sound they heard was a ch, why would they recreate it with a k? Likewise, you do the same in Greek, and you do the same in other languages. And so that kind of points to the idea, what if everyone else is using that sound, it's probably because when they heard Roman centurions say centurio, centurionis, then, yeah, it's a K, right? So that's one way to recognize it. Also, once again, sometimes you have medieval people that were a lot closer to us, to the Romans, telling us on some differences in pronunciation. So you build it piece by piece. We don't have recordings, but we do have a lot of things. It's an approximation. We can't be 100%. Possibly, if I were to be teleported to ancient Rome, a lot of things I would probably be like, oh, we got that one right. But other things I'd be like, oh, so that's how they pronounce that vowel. It's a closed sound rather than an open sound, for instance. So these may be a little harder. it's possible that we got some things wrong, but definitely that's how you build it. It's a process, and oftentimes they tell us. So that's the beauty of it. Thank you, Chanel, for gifting 5 subscriptions on Twitch. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. If Japanese words can be different based on tones, how do these songs work? I think you're getting confused, Tommy, because it's Mandarin that has tones. Japanese is not a tonal language, it's a pitch-based language. And this might sound like a nitpick, but it is different. So tones and pitches don't work exactly the same. For instance, Japanese does have pitches, leaving Mandarin for a moment. Japanese does have pitches, but oftentimes, even though the pitch is important up to a certain extent, if you mispronounce, you can still understand from the context. So, for instance, I don't know, there is a difference in the way you pronounce a bridge and chopsticks, one being hashi and the other one being hashi. But I don't think if someone tells you a sentence, even if they F up the pitch, it's not like you're gonna think, did you mean you wanted a bridge to eat your rice? Or like, are you saying you're trying to cross, are you saying that they should build a chopstick between the river and the two areas? So like, context is king in translation. And even though, and when it comes to singing, however, they drop it. When you listen to Mandarin singing, they drop the tone at that point. They just sing, and it takes the sound of, sometimes it's still there a little bit, but most of the times they don't care about it. So really, that's how they do it. Edible bridges, yeah, exactly. I appreciate that, Scott. And interestingly enough, this happens in Western languages too. So Western languages, there are a couple of Western languages that are tonal, including ancient Greek. But in general, Western languages usually are stress-based. So Italian, English are stressed-based languages rather than pitch-based languages. But we do still encounter a problem sometimes like this with what is called polysemic vocabulary. So when something is polysemic, it means that the same word has multiple possible translations. To give you an example, in English, the word spirit can mean alcohol, usually 95%, or it can mean the soul, ghosts. Once again, how do you distinguish? Well, if you just say spirits, I can guess. But if you tell me the house is full of spirits, don't go there at night, unless I'm a recovering alcoholic, I doubt that anyone is going to think, does he mean it's full of Tennessee whiskey? Or are they saying that there are ghosts? So yeah, context really does help a lot when it comes to that kind of situation. And I saw once a description from a linguist in Italy. It was fascinating. It was so funny. And he was talking about this. And he was saying, once again, it's the context, because you could say, still with spirit, I don't know if you do it in English, but in Italian we do say it. When you put a peach and you want to conserve it and you put it in alcohol, we say sotto spirito, meaning under spirit or in spirit. That's how we pronounce it. Is anyone going to think that it's really a metaphysical, theological interpretation? Because fruit can be the fruits in the sense of your deeds. And if your deeds are under spirit, it can mean that it is within the spirit of a person that you can be vivified and resurrected to the true salvation of Christ that can bring it. No, it's someone who put a peach inside alcohol for okay. So this is the situation. Really is context that helps a lot. Monumentally, in fact. A bottle of ghosts. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes this does happen. I've seen people do this with the reading of ancient sources, including the Bible. And sometimes they will build a whole situation with a word, and I'm like, it doesn't mean that, mate. You can still believe it if you want, but I'm just saying maybe not. So it's just one of those things. And I love reading the Bible. You know that. I've studied the Bible for a decade and I continue to read it. But sometimes some people really read too much into it, particularly when I've seen once a preacher getting fixated on the punctuation. It's like, well, there is a comma here because, there is no comma in the original language. So maybe use something else to build your point. Whatever. That's languages anyways. Edible bridges, guys. Edible bridges. So yeah, Metatron, do you teach private language lessons? I used to. I don't really do it anymore, to be fair with you, because it's difficult to find time while I'm running all these channels. It's possible that at one point I'll resume, but I used to do it. Yeah, I used to do it a lot. So learning something new. Yeah, let's have some fun. Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyone, don't put fruit in bottles of ghosts. Yeah, totally. Don't do it. Don't do it, guys. Thank you, the hotline, for... Man, subscribe for 8 months. That's a lot of gaming on Twitch. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. There are better teachers than me when it comes to Latin, but Luke Ranieri being one. But yeah, thank you, T-Man. You gotta find ways to remember history, particularly if you struggle with dates. You need to make them fun, possibly funny, in fact. Trying to figure out a way to remember the dates. And in my experience, I know that this might sound strange, but in my experience, it really helps memorization. First, to say things out loud. Don't just read because it doesn't work. You have to involve as many organs as possible, so vocal cords and whatnot. So do say things out loud. And then, believe it or not, tell someone. Tell someone about it. Like, go to someone. I used to do this a lot when I was a university student. I would call my mother, or I would call my cousin. I would say, hey, Davide, the Battle of Hastings happened in 1066. And he's like, great. I'm like, okay, want to play some Civilization now? But believe it or not, I made an experience. Because oftentimes when you give people random dates, they always say something funny. Their reaction is glorious. So, and I've said the craziest stuff when it comes to that. And that makes it stick to my memory because it was funny. With dates, that's how I do it. I will never forget 1066 ever. Like, there's no way. Even at gunpoint, I wouldn't forget 1066 at this point. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some people use the little song. There are ways to do it. There are ways to do it, yeah. So I'll tell you this much, Chris. I've never put on a helmet during a lesson, but I have had my students, when I was teaching in high school at one point, put on medieval and Roman helmets during the class. I did do that. And then again, I don't think I'll ever forget that lesson ever again, honestly. So there's that. We had a good time. I had to ask permission first because usually schools can be a little... But the headmaster was like, yeah, it's fine. And so we did that. They all took their pictures and whatnot. It was great. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they remember. They freaking loved it. They freaking loved it. Yeah. You wear your garlic helmet all the time, bro. I do. You're right. You caught me. Guilty as charged, sir. But yeah, here we are. So guys, since we're talking a little bit about languages, there is a video that I wanted to check out before the end of the stream. So I kind of wanted to have a look at it. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because I never do. That's one of my rules of reactions. I don't, unless it's like a channel that gets like 50 million views, then I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll watch the whole thing. But usually just to encourage people to go and watch the original channel, I enjoy just watching a little bit. And also I probably don't have... Where are your leather bracelets? Leather bracelets? They are in hell where they belong. That's where they are. Inferno. Inferno, my friend. That's how we say hell in Italian. So like, who's this guy? Yeah, anyways, I wanted to kind of watch this video very quickly because I saw he just dropped it. Language review, Swedish. And here's the thing. I want to pick up Swedish. I really want to pick up Swedish. So... He's now... Do remember, guys, for those who don't know, Language Simp is a comedy channel. Some people like his humor. Some people don't like his humor. I think it's funny. His video on French, when he called it... What did he call it? He said... Oh, gosh, what was it? He made a joke. It was hilarious. I think... Oh, yeah, he made a video review on Italian and called it heterosexual French. And that freaking killed me. That was one of the best jokes that he ever made. Regardless, some of his videos are really good. Yeah, it was something like that. And so it was great. Anyways, some of you didn't like the one about Dutch, but then again, the French one was glorious. So I'm curious to see this one about Swedish. So without further ado, let's have a look. And again, I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but I'm curious to see what kind of jokes we're going to get. Let's go.
Och vad händer är ni välkomna till min kanal. Jag heter Språksimp och jag kommer från Amerika. Idag ska vi snacka om det svenska språket, brors, otherwise formerly known as Ikeanese, Greta Thunbergian, Meatball, Minecraft language, PewDiePie'nese, femboy Norwegian, or sober Danish. This is the 15th episode of Language Review, a series where I go through the languages of the world and review them, sort of like a film critic or a video game reviewer, but for languages, specifically from the perspective of a language learner. I'll discuss who speaks them, their grammar, their difficulty, and tons of other stuff before finally giving them an official Language Sim certified rating on the Sim scale. If you enjoy—
Okay, look. I think we're starting strong with Swedish, guys. I think we're starting strong. This is pretty good. Sober Danish. I think it's starting well. Now, I am still gonna complain that GigaChad used to have a purple color and now it's green. And I strongly tell you, I resent Language Sim because of this color change in the palette, since purple is the most expensive color in the Roman period. So I think this was perfect when it was purple. I don't know if we have to do some kind of signature or something, but we'll see. I'm gonna say he's gonna put Swedish in GigaChad. Last time with Dutch, I guessed it. For Swedish, my guess, I haven't watched it. There is no red line here. I haven't watched it. It's either gonna be Alpha or GigaChad. I'm gonna say GigaChad, but I could be wrong. We'll see.
If you enjoy this video, let me know in the comments which language you'd like me to review next, and without further ado, nu kör vi.
I want to learn Swedish. Switzerland looks so cool.
Oh, no.
I really want to visit.
Yeah, looks real nice with the mountains and stuff. Wait a second, it's spoken in Sweden, not Switzerland. But honest mistake. Every year, over 100,000 people ask Google if they're the same country, and even our former president couldn't tell them apart. But yeah, Swedish is mainly—
Are you joking? Wait, I did not know that. Maybe because I'm European and I literally been to Switzerland like 5 or 6 times.
same country, and even our—
Biden mixes up Switzerland, Sweden, jokes he's anxious about NATO growth. Well, in this case, I think it's because of senile. Like, the guy was senile anyways. I don't think it's... Do Americans know? Like, guys, be honest with me, okay? Because I've heard an American here tell me that they thought that Brazil was in Europe because they speak Portuguese. So I'm going to be straight with you. I want to be straight with you. If you're American and you're watching this, did you know the Swedish is not spoken in Switzerland? You gotta tell me. Okay? I don't know. You tell me, guys. They call them Swiss and Swedish. Well, yeah. You knew that. Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah, so then it's probably not... I don't think that geography is the best subject the way it's taught here in the United States. I love America. God bless America. I got my American flag here somewhere. But I'm going to be honest about it, guys. I don't think geography is your best suit. Okay? But in this case, I think it's a situation of the man being senile. All right.
Our former president couldn't tell them apart. But yeah, Swedish is mainly spoken by about 10 million IKEA employees in Sweden, a country that looks like a... oh yeah, giant chicken tender located just across the river from the greatest country ever, stretching all the way up to the North Pole. There they have universal health care, free education, parental leave, great elder care, unemployment benefits, and it's ranked one of the best countries to live in the world.
Wait, that sounds great. What's the catch?
They live in igloos, they're often attacked by meese, and they only eat lightly salted dead fish.
Yikes. Let's stay here in Florida. Everything's normal and safe here.
Many people assume that everyone in Sweden is blonde like PewDiePie, but only about half of them are. However, if you're blonde, you're by
Only about...
default born with the ability to speak Swedish. It's in there, I promise. Look under your skin.
Din mamma luktar.
And if you bleach all your body hair, you'll automatically be able to speak fluent Swedish. And as of August 2025, Mojang has not yet patched this glitch. Then if you cross the Gulf of Bosnia, you'll find another 300,000 native meatball speakers in Reindeer Land, aka Finland. Most are spread out around the country, but there is one region known as A Circle Land where the predominant language is Ikeanese. This place is ethnically Swedish, but they benefit from being an autonomous region of Finland with a bunch of tax loopholes, so I think they're just suffering from a case of Helsinki syndrome. Mainland Finnish students are forced to learn PewDiePie-nese as a second language, which seems like a weird choice to me given how Finland shares quite a larger border with Norway, who arguably has a much more useful and global language. But outside of those two countries, Swedish is practically useless. There are about 300,000 additional native-speaking NPCs scattered around the world, with 75,000 being in Freedom Land, mainly in Minnesota, a state that no one has ever even thought about once. So the only real...
Wait, is this real or is it comedy? Sometimes with him it's difficult to understand, but if that's true, it is the most random fact ever. Like literally, in Minnesota you've got Swedish speakers. Did he say 70,000? That's insane. That's insane.
use you could get out of learning this language is reading product names out loud at IKEA to impress the single mom of 7 freshly out of a brutal divorce who is shopping next to you. Like, this is not a bed. It's a stjärna. This is not a lamp. It's a and this is not a mirror. It's a Frebro. But how often do you realistically go to IKEA? If you're anything like me, 3 times a day max, so it might be hard to justify learning sober Danish. Well, I guess Swedish would be useful if you traveled to Sweden. If you're anything like me and you want to travel to foreign lands to practice your languages, you should check out Saley, who I'd like to thank for sponsoring today's video.
Thank you, Saley! Massive W in chat for Saley. Bring in the bags. Code language simp. Come on, it should have been language simp. Come on. You missed an opportunity here. It should have been code drunk Danish. That should have been the code. Am I right?
Today, download the Saley app and use code LanguageSimp at checkout, or scan the code on screen to get started today. Now let's talk about the different dialects of the Swedish language. But let's first address the elephant in the room. Many people believe that Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish are all very similar languages, or...
Stop it there. All right, guys, let's do which is the better looking, the best looking flag. Come on. For me, I mean, this is just the English flag upside down. I kind of like yellow and blue. What do you guys think? I mean, yellow and blue is kind of a cool connection. It reminds me of The Simpsons. You like Norway, Sweden? We need to know. I don't mean to be disrespectful here covering things, but who's got the best flag? Yeah, purple and gold is great because it's like purple and yellow, which has the compensating colors, the opposite colors. Danish, you say? Okay. Norway, you like? Norway's like a little more complex with the fact that they've got... I'm not sure about the hue of blue, though. It's very dark. I think for me, it's going to be the Swedish flag. Then Norway, then Denmark, maybe. But Denmark does look kind of cool now that I think about it. Again, it's the upside down English, sort of. The X, the plus is a little misplaced, the cross. Yeah, yellow and blue. What if they did orange and blue? What do you guys think of that? Shall we petition? Maybe. You like the middle one? Yeah, it's kind of cool. I can see that. I can see that. Which one is the most racist? Ooh, I don't know, my friend. Which one is the most racist? No idea. This one doesn't have any white. So if you consider anti-white sentiment, well, never mind. It does have the blonde though, so no. Scratch that. You say Norway won, Denmark. Oh, you don't like the Swedish one? Well, there you go. I kind of like it. I like it. It's because I'm partial to blue and I kind of like this hue.
Maybe even dialects of the same language. But the honest truth is that they're all most likely just dialects of Icelandic. And I deserve a Nobel Prize in medicine for having the courage to stand up and say that publicly. But let's ignore all that now and pretend like Swedish is its own language. For a lingo spoken by a handful of furniture salesmen, Swedish surprisingly has a ton of dialects. In fact, there are hundreds of them, so we'll focus on groups of dialects instead of specific ones. First of all, there are the Svealand dialects, which are spoken on the strange bulge coming out of the side of Sweden, including the...
Alright, so the section with the dialects, I'm going to leave it to the original video. Let's give him a like, and if you want to see the dialects, to check it out. I'm going to skip it. Writing system. We have to check writing system. It's going to be hilarious. I know it's going to get hilarious. 100%.
Who really cares? Now let's talk about the writing system.
Please.
The Swedish alphabet is written in a plagiarized version of the American script with 29 letters instead of 26 the way God intended it to be. And the 3 additional letters come in the form of 2 extra A's and 1 extra O at the end of the alphabet. This is a huge no-no. I passed kindergarten. I never quite learned how to stop shitting my pants, but I learned that A's and O's do not come after Z.
He's
and
right.
Stop calling them separate letters. Their plain versions already exist in the alphabet, so these are just accent markers. The A with a cookie on top makes the O sound, while the A with a pair of nipples on top
That's
makes
a donut, not a cookie, come on.
the sound. And the O with the nips makes the sound. Now let's practice those.
Please.
Was that any good? These noises are insane and make no sense. They'll take you multiple fortnights to learn, and they might even give you a hernia in your tongue. Look at this word, meaning a drink made from yeast fermented malt flavored with hops. So the nippled O is supposed to sound like the I in bird. So bird. It sounds like I'm in agonizing pain. Then the J makes a Y sound, but
Okay.
the G also sometimes makes the Y sound. What? But sometimes it's a normal G? This feels like rocket science. And then the Y itself has this quirky, uncomfortable ass sound that makes me feel like that little goblin thing from Lord of the Bracelet. But
I think, oh Lord of the Bracelet. I think that's in the capital. I don't know if like southern Sweden has that sound that he's talking about. I'm aware of that. Pretty cool.
truly nothing is as weird as when you start to combine the letter S with literally anything.
Please.
How do you think you pronounce this word? Give it a try. Sjo? Sj? Sjo? No, it's hue. Yeah,
No.
for some reason the SJ is a weird wispy H, so this sentence would be pronounced man. Now let's put together everything we learned, class. Let's give it a try. Let's try to pronounce the word nurse.
Not a chance.
As you can probably tell, Ikeanese is not the easiest language to pronounce,
Oh my
but
gosh.
learning the letters is only like 25% of the battle. One of the biggest pronunciation quirks
go.
you'll need to get used to is what I call the PewDiePie pause. When a word has 2 or more syllables in Swedish, there's often a strange, exaggerated pause between them. For example, the name of the Swedish language is not Svenska, it's Svenska. I feel like I'd forget what I
Wow.
was gonna say mid-word. I'd be like, wait, what was I gonna say? Then a word like beautiful isn't vacker, it's vacker. It's like a little glitch or a double jump in a video game.
I kind of like that. It sounds, particularly from the point of view, because English is quite flowy. I think Italian even more. In fact, this is often a problem. My wife has been learning Italian. She's doing really well. But she often tells me, I never know when you end a word and begin another, because we are very... And the problem with Italian is that often our words begin with a vowel, but the words also end with a vowel. So everything connects, right? So if I were to tell you about, this is the phone that I bought 10 days ago and it's really nice, it was going to say in Italian, I would say, questo è il telefono che ho comprato 10 giorni fa ed è molto bello. Ed è molto bello. So it's like a lot of this is, again, there are words that begin with a consonant, but we always end with a vowel, so they connect. They connect. So to me, it sounds very foreign that they are cutting it like that, and I like it. I actually like it a lot. Actually, I used to wear mail back in the day. Now I don't really do it much, also because I never leave the house. I never leave the freaking room, my friend. So, very cool. Let's see if he gives us Nintendo 64. That's a pretty picture.
But actually, they're probably just lagging because Swedes live in the North Pole and must have terribly high ping. I find it especially interesting when you look at cognates that exist in both American and Swedish.
Okay.
In American, the syllables are smushed together like information. But in Swedish, the syllables are so clearly separated like information. Yeah, don't ask me why, but the shun in American turns into hoon. So if you put together that Lord of the Rings sound with the hard syllable separation, you can do a pretty banger Swedish impersonation. I'm from Sweden. Hoon. I wish I was from Denmark. Hoon. High taxes.
Oh, I don't know. Are Swedish good sports? Because of course he's joking. But, you know, not every person gets it. So how are Swedish usually? I know Romanians can be good sports, but sometimes they get annoyed with things that they shouldn't. But I love Romanians, so I don't particularly care. Who else is a good sport with making fun of accents? I don't know, but I don't know how the Swedish are.
But then there's another absolute curveball that makes Swedish pronunciation even more challenging. Believe it or not, sort of like in Japanese, Swedish has pitch accent.
Let's go.
Now I know all the anime otaku, blue-haired Yu-Gi-Oh! Weeb people just got excited, and they should be. This shit's pretty weeb-pilled. For anyone who doesn't know, pitch accent is when syllables have different tones on them, sort of like Chinese, but syllables instead of words. First in Swedish, there is accent 1, and this goes from high to low.
Right.
So the first syllable has a high tone, and the second has a low tone.
Right.
This is the case for the word banana, which is therefore said like banan. Then there's accent 2, which goes from
low to high to low.
So if
Right, so it's like the middle pattern in Japanese. This is fascinating, actually.
you take the same exact word, but this time say it with the grave accent, it sounds like banaan, which means railway track.
I don't think that's a good example of that, but yeah.
Listen, I have no idea what I'm doing. I know I butchered that,
There we
but
go.
railroads and bananas are only differentiated by some arbitrary change in pitch. That's crazy. Swedish zookeepers have historically also been horrible at pitch accent, which means monkeys are constantly being fed railroad tracks in the Log Island Zoo. But if you're afraid of railroads, just learn Finnish Swedish because they don't have pitch accent and
Do you guys like Finnish, the Finnish flag? What do we think? What do we think of the Finnish flag? Come on, guys, let's go. Let's go. What do we think? I kind of like it. The Finnish flag is nice. Blue, dark blue and white. You know, if this was a lighter tone of blue, I would have given it like a really, really high thing. Because I don't know what it is. When blue gets too dark, I'm not a huge fan. But I do love the combination of blue and white. I think it's probably one of the best combinations ever. So I like it. It's minimalist, but in a good way. Yeah. Yeah, it's a photo negative of other flags. Yeah, I love that. I just love that. I actually love. How is Finnish as a language, by the way? I hope he does that one next.
unrelated, but Finland is also further away from England, so it's a win-win. Oh, and Swedish additionally has word stress as well as long and short vowel differentiation.
Oh my God.
So if you want to speak this language well, you've got to do some ungodly things with your mouth. And before I wrap up the pronunciation section, I want to correct all you Americans out there who have been calling it IKEA your entire lives.
Ooh.
Since it's a Swedish company with a Swedish name from Sweden, it's actually pronounced But how does the Swedish language sound in general?
Okay, we need to find that one out. I need to know now. I need to know. Let's see if Google Translate gives us... No, you know what? I'm going to do this. 1 second. How do you pronounce IKEA in Swedish? I need to know at this point, guys. Let's see if we can find someone. By the way, Julian Miguel, skip. Avoid like the plague. This guy's a fraud. He doesn't know how to pronounce things. But let me see. This guy seems to have a pretty Swedish accent. Name, let's see.
This is how you pronounce IKEA in Swedish. IKEA.
IKEA. So you basically kind of say it removing IKEA. Cool. In Italian, I would read it IKEA. So similar, but with a different accent, of course, probably pitch being involved. But it's kind of closer to the way we do it in Italy than in English. Let's hear it again.
IKEA. IKEA.
IKEA. I love it. Am I butchering it? I don't know. IKEA. That's how you say it in French too? Okay. IKEA. Nice. Oh my gosh, I lost the tab. Where is the tab? Oh, this one. Okay. All right, let's go.
Well, it's got a feminine Italian rhythm coupled with a German masculine...
Oh my gosh, I didn't know. Oh, that's amazing. I just said it's similar to the way we do it in Italy, and he said that. Good job. Yeah, it was good.
bass, which is a pretty nice fusion if you ask me.
Yeah.
All the things we just discussed make it flow like a river, even with the harsh, scary noises it contains. But ultimately, you just can't get away from the fact that Swedish is a Viking hinga-dinga-durgan happily Day language, which is really unique and admirable. When you think of Viking...
I love that. Also, those are from Storyblocks. He downloaded this from Storyblocks. Nothing wrong with it. I use it too.
Vikings? You think of all the Nordic, Scandinavian welfare states or whatever you call them. But Sweden is home to the bubbliest and most approachable Viking language. I know other living languages are technically closer to Old Norse, the language actually spoken by the Vikings, but Swedish has that bouncy metrosexual Viking edge like, I like meatballs, that I can't help but enjoy. So yes, I think the Swedish language sounds beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm not too familiar with Swedish music. They all just seem to sing in American anyway. But some of the best Swedish artists, in my opinion, include ABBA, Young Lean, Tovlo, and screw it, I'll admit it, whoever made that annoyingly addictive Crazy Frog song. But the craziest thing about Sweden and Swedish ain't no frog. It's the vocab. The first Swedish word you should learn is the simplest. And it means island. You might think it's absurd to have a one-letter word mean island, but Sweden has 287,570 islands, the most in the world. For reference, Vatican City has 0. So back in the day, Swedish great-great-great-great-great-grandmothers saw something floating in the water and were like, ah. And then they needed to invent a greeting. So they said, screw it, we'll just copy the Americans for this one. So they say, hey. But this next word will truly blow your mind. Oh my God. To say yes in Swedish, you say, oh yeah, you literally just inhale oxygen and somehow the IKEA employees take that as an affirmative yes. Wouldn't that lead to some misunderstandings?
Oh, yeah.
I'd be afraid to breathe in Sweden. What if I accidentally agreed to something heinous? But the most...
Maybe it's the pitch. Maybe it's this. I gotta say, this is a pretty good episode. He's doing pretty well with this one. I like it a lot.
Important words you'll need when speaking Swedish are fika and lagom, which both sound like Ligma jokes. 99% of all Swedes talk about and do is fika. Whenever I talk to IKEA employees, they just want to fika with me, and as weird as it sounds, all it means is to get a coffee and a sweet treat.
Oh, that's funny, because in Italian, with the pronunciation, it means vagina.
What the fika? That's what I do with your mother every morning at Starbucks. But what makes it different in Sweden is that it's a ritual, a scheduled part of the workday where everyone bonds and talks and wastes money. Screw that, they should be making their CEOs richer. Time is money. And then lagom is a word to describe just the right amount of something. You know how when you put your foot in the toilet and it's not too hot, not too cold, just the right temperature? Well, that's lagom. It's basically just the translation of lukewarm, but they extend it to things other than temperature. Now let's rapid fire some other vocab words that I find noteworthy. The American word good in Swedish is bra. 6 is sex. Speed
so that one is like Scottish a little bit.
Is fart. Dot is prick. P is kiss. So
come
naturally
on.
you'll ask, what is kiss? Well, it's poos. End is slut, and don't Google the words beans, prayers, and chef. And then finally for vocab, Swedes love...
Yeah, when that happens, with Japanese and Italian, that actually happens a lot. There are words that are absolutely normal in Japanese, but in Italian they're swear words. And it's actually funny. Even in Sicilian specifically, there are some Sicilian really hardcore swear words that the Japanese use in their language constantly. And it's so freaking funny. I mean, eventually I desensitize, is that a word? Myself, and I stopped laughing about it. But it was difficult because, it's funny when that happens between languages. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we're going to skip the grammar. I usually skip the grammar. I want to see the shock factor, though.
Danish. Now it's time to talk about shock factor.
Yeah.
How will native Swedish speakers react to you speaking their language as a foreigner? Well, if you walk up to a Swede in Sweden and you speak anything less than perfect native level
They'll
Ikeanese,
speak English.
they're gonna switch to American.
I know.
Swedes speak better American than the Brits do, and that's a fact. Sweden is basically an American-speaking country at this point.
Right.
Now, when you speak Swedish with them, they're not gonna scoff at you like the French or say something potentially a little rude like the Germans, but they're also not gonna freak out like Polish or Chinese people. Swedes will not do backflips when
Japanese.
you try to shock them in their language. However, if you speak really, really like near perfect Swedish to the point where you're not even clockable as a foreigner and they think your name might be Bjorn, maybe they'll say something cool and want to fika with you, but probably not. Also, hilariously, if you're a native Swedish speaker from Finland and you speak perfect native Swedish to a Swede, they're going to be really shocked, and now they might actually do backflips. This is because many IKEA employees do not realize that there are native Swedish speakers in Finland. To put this into perspective, it would be like if a Spaniard started freaking out and doing backflips because a Mexican spoke fluent Spanish to them. I could talk about the Swedish language for a lot longer, but I think I've discussed it for a lagom amount of time.
Let's
So
go.
allow me to give Femboy Norwegian an official language simp certified rating on the simp scale.
All right, guys, what do you guys think? I still think he's gonna say Giga Chad. I'm in between Alpha and Giga Chad, but I think he's going for Giga Chad. Come on, it's got pitches, it's got the funny words, it's got stress, it's got it all. It's got it all. So you've got to give us the Giga Chad. Come on. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna play the Mafia video game Old Country soon. Absolutely. I will. On Twitch, probably, but I will. All right, let's go.
On a scale of dog water to Giga Chad, I placed the Swedish language reluctantly in the alpha tier. This might surprise you if you've watched me for years
Man,
because
I thought I was in between Alpha and Giga. That's fine. I was close enough. Close enough.
historically I was a hater of the Swedish language. But after diving into it for a bit,
Yeah,
I
it's
kind of
good.
like it.
Yeah,
It
me
doesn't
too.
unlock you very much DLC at all, especially since the NPCs who speak it are so good at American, but it's still a really fun lingo. Even without a lot of DLC, you could go speak it at Midsummer, but I don't know after that movie. Maybe just go to a Volvo dealership. Swedish sounds pretty goofy, but
Yeah, that movie was pretty intense. I watched it, but it was tough.
that's because it's not afraid to be what it is. A feminine Viking language spoken by gay reindeer whose lifestyle I fully support in the literal North Pole. Trying to learn how to pronounce it correctly will severely lower your IQ, and a lot of the words are too inappropriate to say out loud, but it's one of, if not the easiest language for Native Americans to learn, so go wild, Bruce. And most importantly, it'll prepare you to more easily learn Danish in the future. I think it'd be best to learn Danish first, but this was the Swedish episode. We'll talk about language in the future.
Very awesome. Really good. I actually liked it. It was good. Good episode. Where do we put it? Where do we put it? I still think that Italian and French were his best episodes to date. I still think that. But it's pretty high. This was fun. This was actually quite fun. I enjoyed this one a lot. Is Swedish cuisine without IKEA meatballs worse than the British cuisine? Probably at this point. What do you think of the golden one? He's Swedish. I don't know who the golden one is. No, never tried Project Zomboid. Is it a zombie game? I actually, as you know, I lived in England and Wales for a couple of years when I was in my late teens. I adapted very easily to the cuisine. There are a lot of things that I like in England. For me, it always was a bit of a meme, to be honest, because the British are like that. They joke about their food. But then again, I liked it. I didn't have a hard time adapting to English cuisine, I'll be honest. And I love English breakfast. Absolutely love it. So I lived it. I lived it for years. I had no other choice. And I thought it was good. I had a good time. Please explain beans on toast. It's fine. I mean, that one too. And in the evening, you're kind of hungry. You get a toast, you toast it. You put a little, if you want, you could put a little salted butter on it. And then you just warm up the beans. And because they come in a tomato sauce, slightly sweet. And then you put that, you pour it on top of the toasts. I like it. I'll tell you that much. It was fine. I mean, of course, it's not like a pizza eaten in Naples. But it's, yeah, I liked it. And again, English breakfast to me, it's every time. I mean, I haven't been to England in a very long time. The last time I went to England was probably like 8 or 9 years ago. And so, yeah, first thing I do, the moment I'm either at Heathrow or Gatwick or whatever, they always have a pub in the, of course. It's like for every church you have in Italy, you have a pub in England. And so in fact, in the UK, I would say. But yeah, they always have a pub at the airport. And so I always go to the pub at the airport and have a full English breakfast. The first thing I do, I love it. I really missed that one. It was really good. Particularly the way they do it. Like I'm not really into chippies. I didn't really care about fish and chips that much. I'll have it if you give it to me, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is English breakfast. That's what I really miss about living in the UK. And what else? So yeah, no, when I went there like 8 years ago, was it? 9 years ago when I went there, went to London. And again, like I went for lunch with Matt Heaston. We had a lunch together. He paid for my lunch. It was very, very nice of him. And then we visited a couple of castles together. We went to, what castle was it? Arundel. We went to Arundel Castle together. But yeah, no, so and then I visited another YouTuber. He doesn't make videos anymore. Night Squire. Do you remember that guy? I went to his place. I even slept at his home. So he was lovely. We played the Dark Souls board game together. So that was awesome. And then before that, the previous time I went to England was when I was a teenager. So that was another, like, give it another 15 years in the past. So, you know, I haven't been to the UK in a very long time. But whenever I do, I will get an English breakfast. Yeah, shepherd's pie is pretty good as well. Sure, when it's well done, properly done, like traditionally. Love it. Yeah. No, sorry, never played Project Zomboid. I'm not sure if I'm into zombie games that much. Old school Resident Evil are an exception. I love 1 and 2. But already I stopped playing Resident Evil in like 5, 6. No, I wasn't into those. I liked 7. 7 was pretty nice. Fish and chips with pea mash. Yeah, I remember that. The big green peas. Yeah. No, they have good stuff. Even like the way they make like Sunday dinner. Or like, you know, when you have Yorkshire puddings, which are glorious. I love them with gravy on top. And then you have mashed potatoes, salt and pepper. I'm going to get you hungry. And then you have whatever protein, whatever meat. Now, given sometimes like you get pork and then they'll give you this little apple jam. I wasn't into that. If you're into it, more power to you. I would skip the mixing of sweet and savory. I don't particularly like that. But I liked everything else. And then maybe some parsnip or some carrot. It's good. The only thing about the way they eat in the UK that really is the way they use the fork. They use it upside down. So they will put the fork upside down and then they will pile up the food. I don't know if they still do it, but they did do it 20 years ago. So you would pile up the food on top of the back of the fork. If you're English, let me know if you still do that. But I remember that, which is the opposite way of how I think we use the rest of continental Europe. And I imagine, I mean, when I see Americans use the fork, they still do it the same way as we do. I don't know why the English have that thing that they have to flip the freaking fork upside down. But yeah, no problem, Joe. Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate that. Yeah, old school Resident Evil, I agree. I actually missed the fixed camera angle, believe it or not. It made it very purposeful. Like every image was crafted because they knew where the camera was going to be. And so they could organize it in a very cinematic way. I understand. Like I wouldn't want to play a Skyrim like that. But I think for third-person games, when they are like that, it's something I miss. I thought it was good. Well, CW, the video was a shorter video. So, of course, you're going to complain about, well, you didn't mention this thing that I liked. We made some decisions with the team. We decided to mention what we felt we wanted to include in the video. But I can't justify a 30 minutes video if YouTube is going to punish me and the video is going to be 10 out of 10. That's the problem. So I have to test with that series of videos. Look at the Etruscans. Didn't even hit 20,000 views. It's a disaster. So I can't commit so much resources, time, production to add as much stuff as possible, and then the video flops. I can't risk it. So I'm moving with baby steps with that series, because I really don't want to cancel it, because I know that some of you do like it. And so what I do, I'll make like 15 minutes episodes, make some choices. You may have disagreed with that. Other people will agree with the choices. It's a case by case. And then we make the 15 minutes. If it goes very well, we'll do a part 2. If it doesn't do well, we don't do a part 2. It's just how it works. But the Anglo-Saxon video is fully funded thanks to the Plushy, so that one is happening. Yeah, it's small steps. I have to do it. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Yeah. They tried to ban the English flag. They failed. Where? In England? Yeah, that's wrong. If it's true. I mean, I haven't seen the actual article, but if it is true, then that's wrong. They shouldn't ban anything. It's England. The English flag should be put anywhere proudly. Just like in Italy, you should have the Italian flag. In America, you should have the American flag. Like, I'm not going into a weird, extreme nationalist position. I disagree with those. But I also strongly disagree with people that have this whole inner hatred for your own country. That's wrong. I do think that a healthy amount of patriotism is good, and I support the idea that if I particularly, I mean, I'm an alien, right? I actually like that term. Do not change it. I'm an alien. I'm an immigrant in the United States, and so I proudly fly the American flag in my house, because as a form of respect to the country that is accepting me as a foreigner who is now part of the system. And so that's how I see it. I always think that whenever you move and you immigrate correctly, the base concept and idea should be respect. And I've done it. I lived in 3 continents in my life. 3 continents. I lived in Asia for 4 years. Now I live in America. I've been here for 3.5 years. And as you know, of course, I lived all over the place in Europe. Every time I relocated, including England, including Japan, including wherever it is, I always go with the idea of I am the external here. So if something they do upsets me, I have to remind, unless it's like some kind of total bullshit. But if it's just something that might be just a cultural misunderstanding, I have to remember that it's like I'm visiting someone else's house. I have to be respectful of what they consider to be the proper way to behave in their house, because they are letting me in, right? That's the way I believe it should be done. And that's why I do have an Italian flag in here, because I do want to be proud of and if we have a child, my child is going to be an American, but it's going to be an Italian American, and my kid I will teach them Italian, I will tell them about our heritage, but they're going to be Americans, first and foremost. And so I'll tell them to love their country. That's how it is. Nothing bad about Italy. Bless pizza. Absolutely, my friend. Appreciate that, Scott. Thank you, Chris, for the support. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm American, but my heritage is Italian, German, and Portuguese. Ma'am, you've got it all. You've got it all, my friend. That's pretty cool. On my wife's side, she's German and Irish. That's her heritage. German and Irish. With your kids, speak with their hands. Who knows? We'll have to see. Do American Italians do it? Probably. I would imagine so. I think it's just something. It's in the DNA. Literally, if you want to make me shut up, just tie my hands. I won't be able to speak anymore. You came to enjoy the USA, not to turn it into Italy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah, this is the DNA, guys. This is the DNA. I've got no control. What can I do? What can I say? Hence DNA. But yeah. I dated Italian Americans is definitely the DNA. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad. I'm proud of my Italian American brothers. We still have to go to freaking man, what is it called? Olive Garden. I still have to go because you guys paid for it. You Muppets made a Olive Garden budget with super chats. It hit $70, and so I promised if we hit 50, I'll go. 70. So I think I get some extra breadsticks as well. So my wife is gonna drive me to Olive Garden soon, and we'll film it and we'll see my reaction. They give chocolate mints? Oh no, I hate the combination of mint and chocolate. It's ungodly. It really is. I already dislike orange chocolate. I'm like, no, I'm not into like orange separately, like on a different planet. When it comes to chocolate, hazelnut is great with chocolate. Milk, of course, milk and chocolate. There are a few things that work with chocolate. Even strawberry. I'm okay even with strawberry and chocolate. Just don't give me the freak. Anyways, orange chocolate, I'm not a huge fan. But mint? Mint is a downgrade. You're literally adding something that makes it a worse experience. I don't want my chocolate to taste like my toothpaste. There is no reason. And it's even expensive sometimes. I remember this, like my aunt, she's now a century years old, still alive and kicking. She will probably bury us all. Anyways, she had this box of like super posh looking, and it's mint chocolate. So you're paying, it makes no sense. Not for me, guys. Not for me. Just one of those things. You either love it or hate it. Yeah, you either hate it or you're wrong. Oh my gosh. Keep your fruits and leaves out of my chocolate. Yeah, but nuts are good. Like hazelnut with chocolate, it's a phenomenal combination. I love it. So it kind of depends. But maybe not. But not walnuts. Could you imagine walnuts in your freaking chocolate? So it really depends. It really depends. Thank you for the super chat, Ray. Olive Garden is okay. Just to try to kid yourself and think it's authentic. Oh no, for sure. I already know. It's gonna be an approximation at best. But I'm okay. I do live in America, and I kind of found a psychological approach to food that is Italian here. And I just tell myself it's Italian American. It's a different category. And then when I do that, I actually found stuff that I enjoy because the taste is good. Just as long as, because if I keep telling me, that's why I think my fellow nationals, that's what they do wrong. They come to America, they have pizza, pasta, whatever the heck, and then they bitch because they're like, yeah, but in Italy. I'm like, great, you're not in Italy. So just try to figure out a way. You don't have to do it if you're here just for 2 weeks, but if you live here like me, you got to do it. I'm telling you. So at that point, you just have to tell yourself, it's Italian American. It's its own category. And I noticed that apart from the insane amount of salt and sodium, apart from that, I have to say that I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Like, okay, want to put your meatballs in your spaghetti? Fine. Do it. Do it. Put whatever you want. As long as you don't put pineapple on pizza, we are good. We're square. That's fine. Not a problem. I'll probably order spaghetti meatball at Olive Garden. I'll probably do that. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I remember that thing with Alex O'Connor. Gosh, in Italian, the opposite for... We kind of accommodate in the sense that the opposite word that we use in Italian, you know how in English you would say mild, but then I know he was arguing that that's not great. In Italian, we use the word dolce for sweet sometimes as an opposite to spicy, but we don't mean it as sweet at that point. I wonder is there any other language? I wonder, maybe. Strawberries on pizza, oh please. Yeah, add whipping cream at this point. Pineapple on pizza is apostasy. That's the word. That's the correct terminology. Pineapple on pizza is apostasy. They have melanzane alla parmigiana. Oh my gosh, I wonder how they are, because I mean, if you do them right, melanzane alla parmigiana, fantastic. My mom would make killer melanzane alla parmigiana. The Sicilian way, very different to the Neapolitan way. We do it in very different ways. Yeah, you use do in French as well, like to mean sweet as opposite of spicy. Very interesting. Cool. So we basically have the same approach. Doesn't surprise me. I wonder if they do it in Spanish too. Michelle, thank you for the support. Very generous. Did Jesus pioneer the importance of children? Let the children come to me and do not hinder them. Smacked down the disciples' actions, keeping the kids away. Jesus said kids were equal to the people in the front row. Yeah, I mean, maybe not pioneer in the sense that I imagine that we might find something like that in previous cultures, but it definitely is strongly reinforced, 100%. Thoughts on freezing pizza dough for later? I don't know. I'm not a pizza maker, man. I haven't got a clue. I just know how to eat it. I'm really good at eating pizza, like professional, in fact, if I say so myself. Yeah, I do hazelnut creamer in my coffee. You know, in Italy, we do also offer that sometimes, hazelnut coffee. It's a little rarer. In Sicily, we have pistachio coffee, and it's really good, but you have to know where to go because it's not as common. But when you go to the right place, what they do is that they'll give you a thing of coffee, like a cup of coffee, but it's transparent, and you can see that it has the crema at the top, the kind of a lighter, right, color of coffee, then the coffee in the middle, and at the bottom it has a green pistachio based infusion that they add, and it's so freaking good. But it's difficult to find. You have to go to the rural areas. The place where I drank the best pistachio coffee was in Erice, which is on top of a mountain near Trapani, and it's basically the most medieval town in Sicily. It still looks almost like you're in the Middle Ages. It looks almost the same. Castle is there, battlements, towers, even the churches and the regular houses with all the ivy growing on the walls. That place is fantastic. I took my wife, when she was my girlfriend, I took her to the... Ray says in Spanish, sweet, dulce, spicy, picante. There we go. So basically, I get it, but do you use dulce as an opposite to spicy? Like if you have two sauces and you want to say one is hot and one is mild. In Italy, we would translate it picante for hot or spicy, but then we would say dolce for mild. We don't really have a word for mild in Italian, and we basically utilize sweet, extending the semantic field. That's what you do when you gain another meaning to a word that already has an established meaning, just to use it as an alternative. Yeah. Well, I'm not aware with this TGM, so if I can't double check the veracity of the claim, I'm not. The way you wrote it, I would say nonsense, complete nonsense. These people are crazy, of course. But I don't know if this is exactly what happens in these days. I prefer to sort of double and triple check any information that I hear, because the media has a tendency on both sides to kind of push things and make them more, to make things sound even more, maybe something is already kind of crazy, but they make it sound so much more insane in the wording. And so this way they do it on purpose because they want to cause an emotional response. At the end of the day, at least in the realm of politics, a lot of people vote because of their emotions. How many people choose a party or a candidate, whether it be in America, whether it be in Europe, it doesn't really matter, based on actual policy analysis? It's usually either you vote for who your parents vote or your family, or you vote maybe differently from your family, but it's still based on personal experience. Maybe you met people of the extreme of the other side and they pushed you and radicalized you to their opposite. But oftentimes, most people vote with emotions rather than data analysis. And the reason for that is, and apart from the reason, I would say that that's why a lot of political talk is specifically focused on causing emotional responses, because those are the way they get people to vote. Talking about that, by the way, you know how I try to avoid, in general, political talk on the channel, and the only times I talk politics on this channel is specifically when there is a tether or a connection to history. Well, believe it or not, I've been, what's the word? Playing with the idea, toying with the idea of actually opening a political channel to talk about culture, war, and politics. I've been toying with the idea. I've already mentioned it on Twitter because I wanted to see what you guys thought about it. Let me know if you think about what you think about that idea. I would call it a moderate take. It would be, of course, a very moderate, non-toxic, non-hateful, anti-extremism channel where we try to use reason and logic, welcoming everyone, left, right, independent or center, as long as they're not toxic and extremes, and in fact battling and debunking people that are nuts on both sides. But then again, still having a strong idea, because you know me, I'm very moderate, very centrist, but on some things I'm definitively conservative, but on other things I do agree with some left-wing positions, possibly in the economic range. So anyways, the idea is maybe a channel that for once is going to look at the evidence rather than base functioning on tribalism. So the opposition is always wrong and we are always right. But look at the evidence, look at the claims. Maybe I like this candidate, maybe I like this person on this political side, but what they said is wrong, I'll still say it. Likewise, I absolutely despise the streamer maybe. But if they say something right, I'll still admit it, that kind of idea. I was thinking of making it because at the end of the day, I tried to keep my channels as much politics free as possible, only having caveats. Like, well, it's about history, so I'll talk about it. Or maybe it's about a game I like, I'll talk about it, and kind of left it at that. But I noticed that I am hated anyways. Like the people, you know how many people have been making videos about me, calling me all sorts of things, changing and twisting my words, trying to depict me as some kind of extremist or some kind of grifter. People do it. And I'll be honest, people on the left tend to do it more than people on the right. I've clashed with people on both sides, but people on the left, I'm just being honest in this case. There are more huge. I've had like 3 left-wing YouTubers were very nice to me. 5 were absolutely vicious. So at the moment, it's not looking great. I'm just saying, maybe it's just happened because it just so happened that these people looked at my situation. When it comes to my experiences with right-wing YouTubers, I clashed with 1. The other, maybe 5 or 6, were nice to me personally. It doesn't mean I agree with what they say. I'm just reporting the facts. Maybe if I make a dedicated channel for once, I can have a situation where, okay, now I'm in control of the narrative, in the sense I say what I believe rather than you twisting my words. And then if you do your whatever the heck reaction videos where you're trying to depict me as some kind of crazy guy, then at least then I can react to you and monetize it. I'm just thinking about it. Like, and again, regardless of your political, that's the difference between me and the kind of people that hate me, is I respect you, regardless of whether you be centrist, right-wing, or left-wing. The only criterion for me is, are you a decent person? Are you not hateful? Are you a person who is like welcome to sit there? Are you okay with sitting down and disagree in a polite manner? Then I honestly don't care. It's your freedom. And we probably agree on some things and disagree on others. So that's the idea. I've been thinking about it. I probably wouldn't read the comments under those videos, though, I'll be honest with you. It will be the one channel where I never read the comments. We'll see. Yeah, they already call me a grifter. I might as well do it. Not necessarily, because again, to grift, it means you don't believe in it. It's a facade. A grifter is someone who does it for the money but doesn't actually believe it. If you believe in what you present, already you're not technically a grifter. But at this point, since they do say, oh, look, he's making these videos and blah, 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 at this point, I might as well just go for it. And again, at this point, at least, I will have some take into how people represent my personal political ideas, which once again, a very common sense. It's like, I don't hate anyone. Well, I hate haters. Then when I do. But yeah. It's one of those things. We'll see. But again, you would all be here. Welcome to it, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. You say, why not? Yeah, we'll see. As I say, I think it would be nice to see for once a channel where I'm going to attack the argument, not the person. Kind of the same values as this channel, but in the realm of politics and the culture war. And I'm sure that some of you, maybe you will find out, this video I agree with you, this video I disagree. Fine, let's talk about it. Maybe you'll change my mind. I am open-minded. But at least, it's one of those things. And I can monetize the freaking haters at that point again. I can monetize because on this channel, sometimes I'm like, yeah, this guy made this video, but on this channel, I don't really want to, because there was nothing about history. It was just twisting my words on other things. And so I end up not taking the chance to dismantle him to pieces, because the argument's usually stupid anyways. On that channel, I could. You know what I mean? Make Rome great again. Hey, let me tell you this much. Comedy is never lost on me. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Yeah, you're right. Some people do. But again, not everyone. Like my moderator on Discord is a lefty, right? And then one of my researchers is right-wing. Not that it matters. Another one is another, the anthropologist is kind of left-leaning. I wouldn't say left-wing. She's a kind of left-leaning. And then another guy, I don't even know. The Egyptologist, I never asked him because it doesn't matter. All that matters is, okay, let's look at the evidence. Let's read the sources. Let's translate Latin. It doesn't matter, right? But, yeah. Who cares? Like, as long as a person is, like, not an extremist, I don't have a problem with them. And that's how it is, yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's one way also to keep the main channel history and civilization only, and then we do all the culture war. And I know that on the culture war, people will start calling me a right-wing grifter because I'm going to say Cleopatra was not black. But it is what it is. I'm still going to say it. Like, I don't care. At that point, sorry. On that situation, I guess right-wingers are right. But on other things, they're not. So it would be, once again, a case-by-case, kind of like an independent approach, if you will. And, yeah. We'll see how it goes. And then you appreciate how sincere I am. That's one thing. I am sincere. I could be wrong on some things, but I am sincere. I do believe what I say. And then I'll try to have guests. I'll invite everyone. I want to see who shows up. That could be an interesting situation. I'm going to invite people left, right, center, everywhere. Up, down, freaking invite the royal family. Let's see who shows up for a discussion. I think that could be an interesting test of character. Why do you think there are so many languages? Man, that's a deep question, isn't it? But I kind of like it. I might consider it for a video in the second. Razor First, he's really awesome and liked your channel. Let's check him out. I'll absolutely check him out. It's funny, one thing that doesn't work with me, it seems unfortunately to work with some people, some YouTubers I know. They are scared to death of what I'm about to say, which is guilty by association. People use that against me all the time, and it doesn't do anything. If there is one thing I never cared about, is guilty by association. I don't care. Like, I can associate. As long as it's not like some kind of serial killer, I wouldn't associate with a freaking maniac. But I don't care about associating with someone even though we may disagree on certain values or positions. Not at all. You'd be interested in that video. Oh yeah, for sure. That could be fun. Why we have so many languages. It's a very good video ideas, man. Why don't you have a channel? Goodness gracious. You have better ideas than me. You should have the channel. You should have the glory. Exactly, Marianne. That's precisely the point. That's precisely the point. You know who else never cared about guilt by association? Yeah, I mean, he would be someone I wouldn't want to associate with. But I mean, that's a very high bar, you know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah. So as long as you're not the Austrian painter, I'm okay. And then again, what does associating even mean, if you really want to dissect the term? Because people will say associate even if you make a collaboration video, even if you have a discussion. But discussions are the basis. How are you going to have a debate or a discussion with someone that you agree with 100%? It's not a debate at that point. It's an echo chamber. So in order, you have to associate with people that you partially disagree with, precisely because discourse is the way that we can perhaps come to some common ground. Maybe you can change someone's mind and it's beneficial for the audience. Or at least it can be. Thank you, Intello. When you do the political commentary channel, please don't be holier than thou like many political... Oh, yeah, no, I'll try to do that. But thank you for reminding me. I do appreciate that. Absolutely, I'll keep that in mind. 100%. You know, I'm usually polite in my responses. There is, however, a caveat. I will respond in kind when people do attack me. So that's something I noticed, that sometimes people see that. Like, they will see, like, my response to Freda. Well, the guy lied about me the entire time. So yes, I will respond in kind at that point. If someone attacks, I will respond in kind. Otherwise, however, if I usually don't do that directly. I'm usually try to be polite, attack the argument, not the person. But if someone attacks me first, then it's my right to defend myself at that point. Metatron, do you still have languages you wish to learn in the future? Which ones? As I was saying earlier in the stream, a Nordic language would be really nice to pick up. After that... I haven't thought that far out. Maybe it would be nice to reach conversational level in Greek, maybe. Who knows? Funny mustache, man. That's one way to say it. That could be something. Oh no, I have a friend who is Austrian. She's a painter. Sorry, I'm not summoning her. I'm just trying to go around the freaking YouTube nonsense. We're like, oh, you can't use this word. Really? I feel like I'm in primary school. I'm like in elementary school. Thank you, Ray. I'll support you regardless, but just be careful. There's a lot of people that go into political commentary and they don't come back the same. I know. So that's one thing I've noticed. And I'll respond to that in a second when you do political commentary channel. Yeah, and I already read that one. So yes, so I did notice that when you go into the commentary space, with the political commentary space, people do explode after a while because it's the most toxic area, which is why I'm saying if I did, I probably wouldn't do debate lives. I might have conversations, but I'm not a debater, and it's a skill that would require training that I don't have time to do. So rather than debating, I probably would just do possibly some casual, friendly conversations. And another thing that I would do is I would make my video and skip the comment section. I'll leave it open because freedom of speech, but that's one thing, for example, that I agree, that I'm strongly supporter of. I agree with freedom of speech. But regardless of that, I would probably avoid the comment section because people explode. I've seen people explode. So can you name one disagreement on each side of the political spectrum? As I just mentioned, like freedom of speech is definitely one thing I agree with the right wing in America. With the left wing, one thing that I agree with would be probably like the idea of free healthcare. That's one thing that I like, that I would agree with the left. Now, I don't know if it can work in America because I'm not an expert of specifically American politics, but as a concept, I like the idea. So that would be one and one. What else? Well, there are quite a few other things, honestly. Nothing is free. I understand it comes from taxpayer, of course. I do understand that. I'm just saying that if it could be made to work, it would be nice to guarantee at least a minimum coverage for people who don't have a certain income. So that's one thing. And then there is the whole situation with immigration. With immigration, I am pro legal immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. But I do create a distinction between people who are really in need. So like if you have refugees, I'm all for helping them out, but without breaking the constraint of the system, because citizens first. So as you see, it's kind of, once again, kind of a middle of the road idea. And even when it comes to immigrants in general, I think you need to look at the person. You shouldn't look like, if it's a person who is an actual criminal and a rapist, kick him out. But you shouldn't associate that to every person from that country. That's wrong. There are some people that are great. They come here, they contribute, they're great people, they're lovely, and I have nothing against them. But there are also those people that come here to cause trouble. And those I do not like. So it's one of those situations, and I myself am a legal immigrant. So sometimes when I see situations with the legal immigration, I feel like, am I an idiot that I went through the process correctly? So as again, it's you need to kind of distinguish is this, but let's look at person by person. And one thing that is very important, and I know that because I went through the process of legal immigration, is that they run background checks. They ran 1 million background checks on me. They saw that I served in the Navy in Italy. They checked if I had any association with dangerous groups. They checked if I had broken the law or I had any problems. All of this is important, right? To make sure that the people that enter the country are good people. And as long as they're good people, I don't care about their religion, skin color, all of that is irrelevant to me. It's just a matter, is this a good person? If it isn't, get them out. And that's pretty standard stuff, I agree. Yeah, I was in the Italian Navy. Conscription wasn't my choice. But yeah, I was in the Italian Navy. So yeah, they did all of that. The process was what it was. Was it expensive? Yeah, but I didn't have to pay it all at once. I mean, usually immigration lawyers will allow you to pay in installments. So there are ways to do it even if you're not affluent. So there's that. What do you feel about farm workers? Well, I appreciate their work, but still, it's, as I say, I'm very pro-legal immigration, so there is that. My parents spent years and money becoming legal citizens. It can be done. Of course it can be done, yeah, of course. And as I say, if there is someone who is a refugee from a war, that's different. I want to help them. But once again, the system needs to work, and the system has limitations. So you have to make sure that, also to guarantee a certain decorum to these people. I don't want to put 50 people in one room. So it's one of those things. Were immigration exams easy? I still didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do any exams. I don't know if I will have to in the future. Maybe because I'm paying an F-ton of taxes and everything else was done right. They were like, you're fine. I don't know. I received a letter from Border Control recently. And poor thing, my wife, when she saw a letter, she got scared. But we opened the letter and it was actually the government telling me that I am allowed to begin citizenship. Which I believe it means that I don't need to do the test anymore. Who knows? We'll see. We will see. And that's one of those situations. Yeah, you can't just let everyone in. That doesn't work. You can't just let everyone who wants in. It doesn't work in any country. No country does it. Whether it be in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and therefore America, Australia, every country has a system. I wish we lived in a perfect society where we could let in anyone we want because of the kindness of our heart, and nothing is ever going to happen. We're all going to live together happily. I wish. If that was a case, I would love it. I would love it. I always find different cultures and different people to be a beautiful thing. To me, it's great. I love it. But we have to be real about it. And there will be bad apples among the sheep, and you have to have a way to, or wolves among sheep, we could say sheep, and we have to have a way to discern them for the protection of the good people of this country. So yeah, it's one of those things. People do take advantage of kindness and exploit, absolutely, which is why I'm going to say, okay, if you like some of the stuff that I've seen happening in the UK, and I'm not okay with that. So, yeah. It's one of those things, I guess. You think there should be no countries and no borders. Again, Francisco, in a perfect world, yes. Then we could say there should be no law enforcement. There should be no soldiers, no wars. Great. But if you do remove your borders from your country, while other countries don't, they keep their borders, you remove your army, other countries will spend more on armies, and you'll remove law enforcement, you will be destroyed and colonized. Just look at history. So we need armies. Unfortunately, we need law enforcement. Anarchy doesn't work. It's a utopia. But the law, it's going to revert back to the law of the jungle. And the problem with that is that maybe you watching, you're a badass. You can defend yourself. Good for you. But what about if you're a weak person? Law enforcement is needed. Sometimes law enforcement fucks up, and I hate it when they do that. So I'm not saying it's perfect, nor is the judgment system. Absolutely. And it needs to be called out when they fuck up. But on the other hand, people who are weak, people who don't have the ability to defend themselves, you need the law to protect them from the people that will exploit them otherwise. The world is a massive C6 game. Sure, I mean, I'll take it. Yeah, exactly. Civis pacem parabellum. That's it. If you want peace, prepare for war. In defensively, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, didn't even want to go too deeply into it. Just so that you know, I'm thinking about making that channel. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I mean, I'm more interested in my gaming channel. That one is a lot more fun for me, talking about the old school games and just having fun with that. But I've been considering, and we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. Please avoid all caps. Just so you probably don't know that, but as a policy on this channel, if someone writes in all caps, I skip the comment. Because otherwise, if I read comments because they do all caps, then it's going to encourage people to do all caps. Therefore, if something is written in all caps, I skip it automatically. Just so you know. Because I don't want you to waste your time. I'm telling you. No, don't worry. It's not. I'm not telling you to be like, this is the rule. No. I'm letting you know that that's what I do out of respect for you typing. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, that's the situation. Oh, you like the old computers on Twitter? Yeah, talking about that, guys, as a little end thing, I'd like to give you my my link to my X account if you are on X, Twitter, whatever the heck, because we are almost at 26,000 and we really need 5 people. 5 people, guys. We could make it happen right now, and if it happens right now, I'm going to do the little animation with the fireworks. And let me tell you, on Twitter, I am completely, or X, I am completely uncensored and unfiltered. I tell it for what I believe, because I don't have to worry, at least, about YouTube censoring my words. So, again, if you're not into X, you're not into Twitter, that's totally fine. Thank you for following. But yeah, only 5 people, guys. It's worth it, I promise. And I post a lot. You know why I post a lot? Because last month, for whatever reason, Elon Musk just wrote a little check to me. What do I mean by that? I don't know how, but I monetized on X somehow. And I checked, and it's like, you can be paid $150. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. So I clicked for it. And I got it. The money reached my bank account, and I'm like, hey, $150 from Elon. Thank you for that. I mean, considering it's Elon, it could have put a K after it, and it wouldn't have touched him in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, I'm not going to complain. I mean, it's a gift horse and whatnot. So, cool. I could get 20 pizzas. In America, in Italy, you could get 100 pizzas. But yeah, in America, it's 20 pizzas. I could get a couple of games. With it. So, yeah, it's automatic for premium members. Exactly. Yeah, precisely. So I was like, that's why I do post a lot, because it is monetized. And even if it gets like 100, you know what? It's easy. It is easy to do. I just post a few times. And if it makes $100, $200, I'll take it. You know, why not? I'll just take my wife to dinner at that point. Tweet more and get paid more. Precisely. Yeah. Let's do it. We're gonna hit it. Let's see. Let's refresh it, guys. Let's refresh it. How are we doing? Boom! Let's go. 26,000 followers. Where is my special effect? Let me get the special effect right now, because I'm a man of my word. Filters. What did I call it again? Here it is. In 3, 2, 1. Boom! Thank you very much, noble ones. 26,000 followers on Twitter. Really appreciate it. You know what? If I was a professional content creator, if I knew what I was doing, even though I've been on this platform for freaking 12 years, I still haven't learned it. And you see all of these young guys now that do things like, so follow me here, follow me there. I never do it because I always forget. I'm like, no, I need to talk about the Sumerians. Anyways, so I should probably mention it a little more, whether it be during live streams or whether it be during videos. I should mention my Patreon. I should mention my ex. I should mention my Twix. Not my ex account. I freaking hate that. I should mention my ex account. I want to mention my ex out of respect for the wife. I'm going to mention the Patreon. I'm going to mention Twitch, because I'm on Kick. I'm everywhere. I just don't mention it enough. So I think I just need to start doing that, because call to action and whatnot. You would think the Mr. Professional YouTuber here would have learned his freaking lesson by now, right? Yes, sir. Confirmed. Second.
Yes, sir. Confirmed. 26,000, sir. Absolutely. I will let them know. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good one. Say hi to the Illuminati.
Oh, he just said to call you Muppets, so Muppets. But thank you, guys. Thank you for making that happen. Let me stop with the filter for now. Maybe. Stop the filter. Stop the filter. Come on. Stop the freaking filter. Where is it? Stop the filter. Thank you. Okay, done. But yeah, no, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate that. We had a great stream tonight. And yeah, we just hit 26,000 followers on Twitter, X. So very cool. And I really appreciate your time. And yeah, we'll see you. So tomorrow I'm not posting, but the day after I am. No, tomorrow I am posting. What am I saying? Tomorrow I'm posting a video. And then I'll post again, skipping one day. Am I going to go live the day after tomorrow? Maybe we'll look into it. We'll see what we've got. Anyways, I'll look into Welsh DNA in a little bit, maybe for the next one. But thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go make dinner. Spend some time with the wife. Oh, there are super chats I missed? Yeah, let me check that before I go then. Ray, you see that it's called a nuanced take. Thank you. And in modern politics, nuance is dead, at least in America. I appreciate that. I will try. If I do make that channel, it will be full of nuanced takes. Now, to the haters, they'll still call me an extremist, but who cares? I'm going to monetize them anyways. But people who understand, like you, people who are decent, I think they'll figure it out. Tips on how to learn language fluently. I'm writing a book about it, so keep watching. Stay tuned. This book will happen soon, I hope. When you do the political commentary channel, please don't be... Yeah, and I think I read all the other super chats, so I think we're up to date. And again, thank you for your generosity, guys, with all the support, super chat, Twitch subscription, memberships. It was a really good stream. In fact, let me check while we're at it. I'm going to check the stream performance very quickly. Oh, yeah, that's nice. With a good stream. I don't know why it doesn't tell me. Oh, yeah, 21 members. That's great. That is actually really good. All right, guys. Thank you so much, number ones. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to play some games maybe later. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.